The libertarians in Indiana are a giant waste of time and space. We'll talk about it here in just a moment. Good morning. It's Rob Kendall Show. Happy Tuesday. Look, it pains me to say that because nobody has tried harder to give these people some level of relevance they completely didn't deserve than me. But after all of these years and what I saw yesterday, it is just time. It is time to declare the Libertarian Party in this state a complete lost cause and find something else. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Again, it's Indiana news, politics, and government you won't find anywhere else. Before we get to that, though, a crazy story yesterday in which Andy Zay, former State Senator Andy Zay, who just months ago was appointed to the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, was fired from that post for cause. Which you have to have cause in Indiana to remove somebody from the IURC. And what the cause was is wild. We'll get to it here in just a second. Before we do that, though, a reminder on how we got here. So Andy Zay was a state senator. His claim to fame was over numerous years attempting to get the tenderloin named as the state sandwich. That's his claim to fame. The tenderloin is the state sandwich. And of all the people in the entire state that Mike Braun could have appointed to try to fix utility bills, to try to stand up for consumers, he said the senator, the institutionalist, who had been there for 10 years, whose claim to fame was failing to get the tenderloin named the state sandwich, was going to be the best guy. And when Braun appointed Zay to be on the IURC, you may recall people such as myself saying, that's going to go poorly. You can't appoint an institutionalist, which a guy who's been a senator for 10 years with no accomplishments, and his claim to fame is failing to get the tenderloin named as the state sandwich. You cannot appoint that person to a position and expect he's going to do anything different other than what the institution is doing. And yet, in a line of disastrous appointments, which we'll also talk about here in a second, from Braun, he went ahead and rammed through with Andy Zay to the IURC. And not only did he appoint Andy Zay to the IURC, he made him the chairman, the head guy. And, you know, what's interesting about, and we've talked about this about Braun before, where Braun identifies problem, Braun says he's going to do something about problem. Braun then comes up with, quote unquote, solution to problem that doesn't actually fix problem. And then he goes, look at what I did. Next, please. He did it with property taxes. He's done it with the IEDC. And now he's doing it with the IURC. Because the dirty little secret is Braun, just like the rest of these Republicans, don't really want to make any changes, because changes would be taking on the utilities, and these people, they be bought and sold big time by the utilities. The utility lobby, the utility industry is one of, if not the most powerful in the entire state. From the IEDC to the pockets of politicians, to the gifts, to the campaigns, all of this stuff, the utilities are there, and they're players. And so it is laughable to think, no matter what words come out of Braun's mouth, that he was ever going to do anything to actually take on the utilities. Now, Braun, in this case, is passing the buck, because he had to know when he appoints an institutionalist, who he served with in the institution, by the way. Braun was in the House when Zay was in the Senate. That nothing was going to get done. But yet now he can go, well, I appointed you to do blah, 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 and you didn't do it, so you're the bad guy. Braun, of course, knows damn well, well, maybe Braun doesn't. Braun doesn't. There's oftentimes you would say he should know damn well, then he probably doesn't. That the IURC is bound by the laws of the state of Indiana. Who controls the laws and the rules and regulations of the state of Indiana? The governor and the General Assembly. And the governor and the General Assembly have repeatedly passed laws that have rigged the system, rigged the game in favor of the utilities making money. See 2025, where Braun signed into law a bill that will allow utilities to recoup 80% of their investment in unproven technology, better known as SMRs, small modular reactors. Not a single community in this country can say they are powered by small modular reactors. The technology is years off. And by the way, Indy reporter is going to join us here in a little bit. And this is one of the things we're going to talk about. What a scam the nuclear thing is right now. And how disingenuous the politicians are being, trying to act like it is some magic bullet that's going to power the data centers. But last year, Mike Braun, who claims affordability is his top priority, and he's so into affordability with utilities, he just fired Andy Zay over allowing AES to raise rates. But last year, he signed a bill, which meant he consented, that allow utilities to recoup up to 80% of their research and development in unproven technology, whether it works or not. Does that sound like someone who gives a damn about affordability? You can never pay attention to what these people say. You have to watch what they do. Same thing with property taxes. Braun said all the right things. Look at the bill that he signed. Did that make your property taxes any more affordable? Certainly in the long run, especially when you factor in the local income taxes, the wheel taxes, all these other things that are going into effect now. Of course not. Braun said he was going to clean up the IEDC. We'll get into this with Indy reporter. It's basically the status quo. $250,000 for the suite at the race. $3.75 million spent on legal bills for the LEAP district. Just on land acquisition, by the way. The new IEDC board rolling out the incentives to data centers. Nothing's changed. It's a pattern of behavior with Braun. It's the exact same thing he did with the IURC. I'm going to fix it, and then he appoints people any person who is remotely paying attention to what's going on would have looked at that person in the case of Andy Zay and said, that is not a person that is going to fix it. It's a string of bad appointments by Braun. Think about them. You've had Jennifer Ruth Green, cabinet appointment, who ended up resigning, paying, I believe, the largest ethics fine in state history. You have Adam Krupp, head of DCS, or was the head of DCS, disappears for months, won't explain where he went. Braun alludes to the fact the guy had some sort of mental breakdown. And then when he comes back, he gives him a job paying the same amount of money as a special advisor, and they won't tell you basically what he does. You've got people like, I believe Ken Abernathy was the guy's name, who was the head of NDOT. And he was there for a few months and then left. It's one thing after another with Braun where he makes appointments, bad appointments, and then the appointment doesn't work out, and it's somehow never Braun's fault, even though he's the guy doing the appointing. So Braun appoints Andy Zay, and immediately one of the first things in front of Andy Zay and the IURC is AES asking for a rate increase. Remember, the IURC is bound by statutes that the General Assembly and the governor have put in place. They have some flexibility, but they can't just do whatever the hell they want to do. It's an example of Braun not fixing the actual problem. Saying the thing so you think he's really trying, but not fixing the actual problems, which if you actually wanted them fixed, you fix them through statute, you fix them through code, you fix them through the law. So he puts Zay and these other people on this board, and Zay votes to allow AES $71 million of rate increases. Now, initially, AES had sought $193 million. There was a proposed settlement of $91 million. The IURC rejected that, and the ultimate rate increase was $71 million. Braun then comes out and blows a gasket. And basically accuses essentially Zay of betraying him. Quote, I was fairly clear when I said you want commissioners to make sure you're changing the dynamic to where you're not rubber stamping what the utilities have wanted, Braun told reporters at the time, according to the Capitol Chronicle. I made the adjustment there in terms of the chairmanship because I thought that should have been clear. So the question would be, and of course he's referencing when he yanked Andy Zay as being chairman of the IURC. The question to Mike Braun would be, what did you want him to do? Ignore the statutes that you and the General Assembly have in place? Just totally make the law up as he goes along, and when the state gets sued and we lose, just go, oh, well, those are the breaks? I mean, Jim Merritt, who is on the IURC nominating committee, has made it abundantly clear on this program of State House Happenings, all of them, these guys can't just do whatever the hell they want to do. I mean, they could. They'll get sued. Braun doesn't actually want the problem fixed because he doesn't want to piss off the utilities because there's too much money at stake with the utilities in the Republican Party. What Braun wants is lip service, to give lip service to you and then find a boogeyman when it doesn't go as he claimed he wanted it to go, but he actually really didn't want it to go that way. You can't have signed a bill last year that says 80% of research and development on unproven technology gets recouped by rate increases, whether it works or not, and then claim to give a damn about the rates. You don't get to do that. So he fires Andy Zay. Well, he removes Andy Zay as the chairman of the IURC. And then 6 weeks later, an announcement comes out from, I believe this was State Department of Personnel, saying, quote, Andy Zay was discharged from employment with the state of Indiana today, August 3rd, 2026, for non-adherence to state policies and laws related to his role as commissioner at the IURC. This is according to the agency spokesman, Carolus Barsoum. Barsoum. I'm butchering your name, I'm sure. Sorry, buddy. More specifically, SPD said Zay was dismissed for, quote, multiple potential violations of state policy, including failing to file a required financial disclosure after his removal as chair, improperly awarding payments and personal gifts to employees, and directing staff to alter a public meeting agenda without consulting the new chair. When reached by phone, Zay only said, I cannot comment at this time. Now, there was all sorts of scuttlebutt after Zay got removed about drama looming and that Andy Zay was not happy with the pressure and the manner pressure was being applied to him as an IURC commissioner. And there's rumors about emails and all sorts of stuff. Clearly, the opening salvo was fired by the governor's office. Now, a lot of times in politics, people just go away. They get incentivized, or they feel they're incentivized. Whether Andy Zay chooses to fight for himself, hopefully he does. Hopefully he will battle back. I mean, these allegations, just based on that description, I'm not saying they are. They sound like some of them could be construed as criminal actions. It's obviously not for me to say. But when you hear things like multiple potential violations of state policy, including improperly awarding payments and personal gifts to employees, that sounds like something a prosecutor might take a look at. Is Andy Zay going to take that lying down, or is he going to fight back? And don't tell me for a second, when we've had Diego Morales in that office for 4 years and nobody gave a damn about that, suddenly we got on our moral high horse on ethics in the Republican Party. Don't tell me somebody woke up one day and was like, damn, Andy Zay is an ethics nightmare. We should do something about that. No. That's not how this works, guys. No. Andy Zay is being taken out. The question is whether he's going to allow it to happen or he's going to man up and fight back and tell us, the taxpayers, what actually is going on over there. We will see as we learn more. That's what we know. Crazy time in the Indiana Republican Party. Crazy. I mean, Braun's a dumpster fire, man. Braun is an absolute dumpster fire. And for some reason, he keeps making all of these bad choices, all these bad appointments, and it never blows back on him. He puts the people in the position. They don't follow through. Somehow everybody but him gets the blame. It's amazing. And Josh Kelly is chief of staff because that guy's an idiot too. Hey guys, it's a Rob Kendall Show. Let's just a couple real quick housekeeping reminders. Don't forget, you can help us grow the program. Like, share, and subscribe. Give us that thumbs up. If you're watching us live on YouTube or on demand on YouTube, give us that thumbs up. Really helps us grow the program. If you're watching us or listening to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, all the on-demand places, give us that 5-star review. Really helps us grow the program. Share the feed out. Let people know we're here. Our growth is organic. Our growth is thanks to you. We can't do it without you guys. And last, but certainly not least, subscribe to us on whatever platform you are listening to us on. Like, share, and subscribe. That's how you can help us grow the Rob Kendall Show. Another point of order. Actually, 2 points of order. Number one, we want to thank our amazing supporter, Mad Duck. She was a hit the big support button over at robkendallshow.com yesterday. If you like what we do, we certainly appreciate every single one of you who has supported us from the beginning. 5 months now. Mad Duck, one of our great friends in the YouTube chat, she hit the support button yesterday. We have us at robkendallshow.com. We got the live link there, all the on-demand platforms if you're wondering where you can find us, and then articles from our favorite segments each day. We turn them into articles so you can read them. In addition to that, we also have the support button. If you like what we do, whether it's $1, $10, if you're like, I love Indiana news, politics, and government that I can't get anywhere else, support button's a great way to show that. What a deal this month, by the way. John from Black Sheep Plumbing, our fabulous YouTube chat sponsor, has graciously said, if someone hits the support button over at robkendallshow.com and supports the show, whatever dollar amount that is, up to $100, he's going to double that as credit if you need service from Black Sheep Plumbing. So when you guys hit the support button over at robkendallshow.com, I send you an email, or at least I always try to. Say, hey, thanks for giving to the show. We really appreciate you. And so all you got to do, if you need Black Sheep Plumbing service this month, all you got to do when you call is show John your thank you email from me, the amount you gave, and he's going to double it with credit for the service. So actually, if you end up needing plumbing service this month, you can end up making money on the deal, like up to $100. So, example, you give $50, hit the support button, robkendallshow.com, $50. He's going to give you $100 credit on Black Sheep Plumbing service. What an incredible deal. John's an amazing supporter of the Rob Kendall Show, and you guys can support the show too. And if you need plumbing service, potentially make a few bucks off it in the process, heading over to robkendallshow.com. Hey, Anthony Gary, another fabulous supporter of the Rob Kendall Show. He owns Indy Dwell Real Estate, and he doesn't just list homes for sale. He gets them noticed, he gets them shown, he gets them sold without you losing sleep or sanity. Anthony's trained with some of the top negotiators on earth and is ready to help you achieve your real estate goals. Put Anthony's expert selling strategy to work for you. Experience top-notch as well. Call or text Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate, 317-756-1159. 317-756-1159. We got a ton of Indiana news, politics, and government to get to today, guys. We're going to talk about the libertarians a little bit. We're going to talk about these just ridiculous, pathetic people who are calling people who went to the Save Heritage Indiana event on Saturday Nazis and KKK members. And it's really getting ugly, and it's ridiculous. And one of the things that I saw yesterday, and we're going to go into detail in this a little bit later on in the program, is prominent people, prominent voices in the Libertarian Party echoing that sentiment yesterday. And nobody over various forums where I saw people doing this to any of these people said in the Libertarian Party, stop. Including Lori Schillings, the Secretary of State candidate, the Libertarian Secretary of State candidate, who was in the responses of everybody going back and forth. Nobody said stop. Nobody said that's not true. Nobody said we don't think that. And so I'm watching this last night saying, I'm done. I'm done with you people. You people are complete clowns. And nobody's tried harder to help the libertarians, not because I agree with all of their positions, but because I believe in free speech. I believe in more voices being heard. But libertarians have been around the state for 35 years. They've had ballot access, and they've never taken advantage of it, and they've never treated it serious. And it pains me to say this because there are some great libertarians, really good people. But that organization is a complete dumpster fire, zero institutional control, and quite frankly, they have a lot of extremist views on the social stuff. And so we'll get into that a little bit later on in the program, too. Indy Reporter is going to be with us. One thing I did want to touch on, though, before we get to Indy Reporter, because we got a whole bunch of stuff to get to with Stephen Whitmer, Indy Reporter. We're going to talk about the actual event itself, the Save Heritage Indiana event. We're going to talk about the IEDC and all the things that aren't changing over there. We're going to talk about power, which is a super important conversation about this just ridiculous assertion that we're anywhere close on nuclear powering all of these data centers and these other mega developments that are being built and what we do in the meantime. But before we get to that, there was another big announcement yesterday, and that was that Chris Garten formally said he's going to run to be the head of the Senate here in the state of Indiana. And this is, of course, because Rod Bray is stepping aside. Bray said he's not running again. He does not want his colleagues to be punished for supporting him as the pro tem of the Senate. He does not want the Trump people going after these other senators the same way they went after people on redistricting. He said, I'm not going to put them in that position. So Capitol Chronicle, amongst other publications, had a big article about this yesterday. Chris Garten has come out and said he wants to be the head of the Senate. Now, Garten was sort of the leader of the pro-redistricting cause in the Senate, which failed. He gives this Mr. Smith goes to Washington type of speech, and suddenly all the conservatives love Garten and say, that's our guy, everything's going to be rosy. And I say, not so fast. We don't, as the guy on the football, Lee Corso used to say, not so fast, my friend. Because on this program, we don't look at what people say, we look at how they vote. And in the case of Chris Garten, though he is now trying to paint himself as some sort of conservative warrior, his voting record mostly mirrors that of Rod Bray. The actual voting record tells you who these people are. Speeches don't matter. Campaigns don't matter. Voting is what matters. And the actual votes of Chris Garten, not quite, but very similar, not quite identical, but very similar to Rod Bray. And if you want to know what sort of leader Chris Garten will be, look at who he has to be his number two. A guy by the name of Eric Cook. Eric Cook is a Republican from Bedford. And here's what, before I tell you who Eric Cook is, here's how Chris Garten described Eric Cook. A strong, united caucus requires a high-caliber leadership team, and there is no one more qualified to share in that responsibility than Senator Eric Cook. Eric is an elite strategist, an accomplished attorney, and a deeply respected leader with judgment beyond reproach. In the floor leader seat, he'll be a powerful driver of our conservative agenda for Hoosiers. The only problem with that? Eric Cook is the head of the Senate Utility Committee. You know, the group that keeps siding with the utilities to screw you. And Eric Cook is totally in bed with the utilities. He's taken huge money and huge gifts from them, according to the Indy Star. And he is responsible, a major leader, a major reason why your utility bills are in the position they are. The never-ending increases. You can thank Eric Cook. And according to Chris Garten, Eric is an elite strategist, an accomplished attorney, and a deeply respected leader with judgment beyond reproach. So to Chris Garten, the never-ending utility increases, the never-ending screwing of you is an elite strategist, an accomplished attorney, and a deeply respected leader with judgment beyond reproach. Here's what the Indy Star wrote last year about Eric Cook. Cook, who authored the bill, among other pro-SMR efforts, you remember the bill I just referenced, where the utilities get 80% of their money back on rate increases from you, whether the technology works or not. According to Chris Garten, that's elite strategy, a deeply respected leader, and judgment beyond reproach. Eric Cook voted to screw you, every single one of us, and Chris Garten says, that's my guy. But yet we're led to believe, it's going to be so much different now. According to the Star, this was last year, August of last year, Cook, who authored the bill, among other pro-SMR efforts, and his wife received around $1,600 in dinners and drinks from utilities, including Centerpoint Energy, I&M, iPalco Enterprises, the parent company for AES Indiana, and Duke Energy. Duke Energy, which became a top donor for Cook's campaign shortly after his appointment as Senate Utility Committee Chairman in 2020. Between 2021 and 2023, Duke Energy and its Political Action Committee gave a combined $15,000 to the powerful state senator, according to campaign finance reports. So the utilities give this guy and his wife $1,600 in dinners and drinks. Duke gives him $15,000. He votes to screw all of us. And Chris Garten, the new darling of the right, the new, it's going to be so much different this time. He says that is the guy to be my number two. That's a guy with judgment beyond reproach. Oh, but wait, it gets worse. According to the Capitol Chronicle, also on Monday, Senator Scott Baldwin kicked off his bid for caucus chair. Who's Scott Baldwin? This is the guy that wants to be number three. We know about number two now. Scott Baldwin is the guy that voted to screw us on property taxes. Scott Baldwin is also the leader of a construction management firm that makes huge money off government projects paid for with property taxes. So your number one is going to be a guy, Chris Garten, who voted to screw us on property taxes. Your number two is going to be a guy who's totally in bed with the utility industry, who voted to screw us on utility bills and led screwing us on utility bills. And number three is going to be Scott Baldwin, a guy totally in bed with local governments. The company he runs makes huge money off of local governments. And he voted to screw us on property taxes. And yet we're led to believe it's all going to be different. It's all going to be better because Bray's gone. The boogeyman's gone. Ain't nothing changing, guys, because that is the way the Republican Party works. Hey, you guys got a leaky chimney, water in the basement, cracks around the exterior of your home? Bramwell McKay Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, basement waterproofing, and more. Bramwell McKay doesn't offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Bramwell McKay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, BramwellMcKay.com, your masonry, foundation, and chimney specialists. All right, we'll take a break. Indy reporter joins us next. You're watching Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
DC politicians don't care. Buying stocks with insider information, they get filthy rich. But if you did it, you'd get locked up. Thankfully, there's one fighter on our side. Senator Todd Young is pushing to ban all congressional stock trading forever. He's never traded a single stock while in Congress. Young's a Marine who does the right thing. Contact Senator Todd Young. Thank him for standing up for us and for fighting to ban congressional stock trading.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance, so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Welcome back. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Look who it is. Back by popular demand, Indy reporter Stephen Whitmer. Hello.
Hello.
All right, so you went to the big Save Heritage Indiana event on Saturday.
Yep.
I had an issue not with the event itself, but that they made it so secretive. I thought if you want to prove a point, you got to get the people there.
Yeah.
And I felt like the secretive, we're not going to tell you where it's at, and then we're going to have you go somewhere and then go somewhere else like a scavenger hunt. I thought that sort of undermined the cause because then the anti-people got to have this big public protest where it wouldn't cost anything to go. You went to the event. What say you?
It was a pretty good event, and I will say that it was more of like a paid speaker thing more than anything. I know everybody was putting on this like, oh, we're going to have like 500 to 1,000 people in the park, and we're going to be talking about mass deportations. But it was more about having a Greg Bovino there and then speak at an event. There's been a couple events that I've gone to where I pay to go there, and I know there's a lot of like hoopla, as they would say, of how many people were there. I counted it up because I was there. There were about 135 people that were there. And the
pretty good for a paid event.
That's what I'm saying. And the biggest reason why it wasn't like out in the public, I saw some of the messages and the text, and a lot of the people on the left get pretty violent, and that's what they were worried about.
Well, that was my thing. Is it's like, okay, it was a law-abiding event.
Yep.
Everybody behaved themselves.
Yep.
Everybody who went there consented. They paid money. Just let you guys have your event.
Yeah.
And, of course, the left can't stand that, so they've got to have some massive protest rally over the fact that some guy who was a high-ranking government official came and gave a speech.
Yeah, and it was kind of – there are a couple of people that I talked to who were kind of annoyed with the cloak and dagger stuff.
Well, that was bad.
Yeah,
they should not have done that.
I thought I had fun with it. You know what? Listen, everybody knows that I'm kind of a crazy dude, and I always have fun with maybe the scavenger hunt. But, the amount of threats that they were getting, and they were worried about violence. And this wasn't like some KKK rally that everybody was putting off. It was like going to a J.D. Vance event, basically. Everybody was in a suit and tie. They had nice shoes. It was, a kind of a formal affair. And there wasn't anything crazy that was talked about. And, there was some drama that happened before that, as you probably know. And it was just about, we are a law nation and we want to enforce the laws.
That was my whole thing of this is the left can't stand that you guys even exist.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. We have to have a protest rally. Protest about what? Well, there's this event. Well, what's going on there? We don't know. But this guy's speaking, and we don't like that he was in charge of the border. And it's like, there's all sorts of private events that happen that I don't agree with. I don't go throw a fit and have a protest about it. And they just make themselves look anti-free speech, anti-freedom, and then their whole thing with the, it's always the abolish ICE. You do more harm for your cause than good, because I think the average person is closer to you guys than the protesters.
Yeah, and it really came down to just enforcing laws. You're not supposed to be here. You got to go through the legal way. There's a few other things that were talked about, but that was the big message out of the entire event.
There were no Nazis that I saw.
Nope, no white hats.
There were no Ku Klux Klan people.
No burning crosses.
Well, and we talked about this yesterday on Monday. When you have guys like Fatty Cadora comparing you guys to the Ku Klux Klan, first of all, it's insulting to every person who was subjected to the Ku Klux Klan, or Nazis or whatever. There's nothing that went on there that other than you guys just said, hey, follow the law.
Yeah.
And you lose the plot. You lose normal people when you're comparing you guys to the Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah, when they're going that far extreme. And then comparing it to like the worst atrocities in human history, it just really makes them look really bad too. Because I think we've been around the game for a little bit, they're losing more support day by day when they go, it's like, well, you guys are the crazy ones. You guys are, insert whatever here. And it's like, no, we're just wanting to enforce the law. You're not supposed to be here. You're out of here. And more people, even the normies. It's kind of crazy when you go to like the grocery store normies. And then they're just like, just follow the law. What is so hard about that?
Well, and I'll get to this Sikh deal here in just a second, because I think that is ground zero for what you guys are trying to say about a lack of assimilation, about a lack of people wanting to do things the right way. But before we do that, what is this Save Heritage Indiana? What are they trying to accomplish?
They're really wanting to go back to like Hoosier. I wouldn't say Hoosier hospitality, but it's more or less like what is a Hoosier, and then assimilation, and then going back into the founding roots of Indiana. Any
idea why Banks and Braun didn't want any part of that?
I'm sure they didn't want any of that heat. Banks
is out there. Braun's a big wimp, but Banks is pretty.
And that was basically what the deal was with Banks. And I know there were some people. I listened to Tony Katz today, and they were saying like, well, we want a video, we wanted some kind of endorsement. And when I talked to Daniel Pointer, who's the head of Save Heritage Indiana,
he's supposed to be with us for Friday's show. That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
Look, I give the guy credit. I sent him a message, and he responded right away, and he said, "I'll come in whenever." He wasn't ducking anything.
Yeah, he's open to any kind of interview just to get the conversation going. And I think that's what I wish more the left would understand is like, why don't we just have an open conversation about it?
Do you feel like you got your $50 worth?
Oh yeah,
there was good value.
Oh yeah, there's great value. I know some people weren't. The weather was the worst part, but like we've had 2 weeks now where it was supposed to rain and then it never rained,
right.
And it was just the unfortunate part. That was really the only bad thing was the weather.
Indy Reporter is our guest. Let's talk about the Sikhs for a second.
Mm-hmm.
What is there's a Khalistan referendum. Is that what it's called?
Yep, there sure is.
Okay. You posted this video. So Sikhs are a religion inside Indian territory.
Mm-hmm.
And there are all sorts of Sikhs now in the United States. There's all sorts of Sikhs in Indiana. And you posted this video of these people, what look like miles of traffic on a crowded interstate. And they're waving these, or they have these flags attached to their cars about this Khalistan referendum, which basically is trying to let the Sikhs break off inside of Indian territory.
Yep.
And they're honking horns, and then they're posting these Khalistani referendum flags in communities, including in Brownsburg, and they're yelling in foreign languages. And I'm looking at this going, this is not assimilation. You are in America. You are in Indiana. If you wanted to be here, why are you this concerned about what's going on in a country you fled? You're always the voice of reason.
I try to be.
What say you?
Well, that's actually part of the Save Heritage Indiana too. Was, well, how did we get here? And then when you bring in new people, are you going to assimilate to America, to Indiana, so on and so forth? But people don't know about this whole Khalistan thing, too. They're basically wanting to have an independent state carved out of India's Punjab region, arguing that the Indiana function as an occupying force there. So that's really what their whole goal is. But But
that seems very like, you live in America now.
Exactly. Yep.
What are you doing?
Yeah, go back over there and vote that.
Yeah, if you want to fight for that, by all means.
Here's the best part. I've been told that if you are an American citizen, you're not allowed to vote in it. So like I've seen it. It's happening at Lugar Plaza. There's one in Greenwood, aka Bollywood now. And it was like, well, what if you have an American or a U.S. ID? You're not allowed to vote in it. So are you kind of telling yourself that you're not supposed to be here?
Well, this is what I don't understand, because the signs are everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of ignored it for a while. And then you posted that video of the traffic.
Yeah.
And then there was like some event afterwards where they're all shouting in a foreign language. And it's like, this is not assimilation, guys. Like, I'm all for the wide gate with the big wall.
Yeah.
But this is not you assimilating. This is not you wanting to be a part of what we are. You're wanting to make us like you is what this comes off as.
You're basically telling us it's okay if, I mean, it looked like an invasion, really. And when
you get in so much trouble when you say that. It was hard to argue with the phraseology.
I think so. I mean, if you look at it, how you have a horde, like I was just watching Troy the other night. And you have like this horde of a foreign nation coming into your doorstep with their flag, with their banner, and it's like, well, does that not look like an invasion or like an act of war almost? And that what you were talking about with that highway, they even were bragging like it is 5 miles long.
Is that what they were saying? 5 miles?
Yeah, it's 5 miles long.
I didn't the mileage because I thought maybe Stephen's just ad-libbing for effect.
No, they admitted that it was 5 miles long. And then I found another video where they were going like 15 miles per hour on 65 going north.
Well, that was the thing to me. It's like you're disrupting traffic.
Yeah.
Like you're clearly like, look at us and we're going to disrupt all these motorists for miles who now have to go around you because you guys are taking up the highway for some Indian reference.
Yeah, exactly. That has nothing to do with this country.
One of the things that's interesting to me is because you get a lot of flack and we always do the disclaimer. I don't agree with everything you say or the way you say it, but I think the majority, and I said this yesterday about the event you went to with the Save Heritage people, people are afraid to speak out because they don't want to get a label to istophobe or whatever. Yeah. But if you were to say, where is the average person? Are they with the Abolish ICE or are they with you guys in the tent? I think the average Hoosier is much more with you guys in the tent as it relates to legal immigration versus the Abolish ICE, open borders, everyone's, welcome, no rules whatsoever people.
Yeah, 100%. And the people that were at their event, these are regular people, business owners, veterans, just regular college kids too.
Did the guy get in trouble for streaming the event? That was great for me. I don't think anybody knew he was streaming, but he wasn't like silently streaming. He was like doing it publicly, but it was great to be able to watch. And I'm watching this event going, okay, this isn't like, the greatest event ever, but it's very normal. Like I felt like if you guys had done this out in the open, not you guys, I'm saying like the organizers, then more people would have seen this and been like, yeah, this is like really normal mainstream conversation.
Yeah, we're just having a talk. This is what we want, enforcing the laws, and no big deal. It's not like anybody's throwing out any like a salute or anything, or anything's firing it off in the background. It's like, no, there were like roosters in the background.
Indy reporter Stephen Whitmer is our guest at Indy_reporter_ on Twitter. Okay, IEDC. Nobody's dug more into the IEDC than you. Braun made this big declaration last year. We're changing the board. We're auditing the IEDC. New day, new us. And then it's $250,000 for a suite to a racing event. Like it seems like it's all the same stuff they were doing before, just under a new name. You've been digging into the finances of the IEDC. What say you? Yeah, so I went back and you can find different keywords, but then they get kind of sneaky with the addendum. So it's always the addendum.
It is, and if you I have to lock myself. I have to put horse blinders on. Is like focus on that. Look at the transparency portal and just go through it. A little help with ChatGPT to make sense of the legalese of it. But overall, like the amount of money that they're spending with these law firms to try and acquire land with LEAP, with this Project Goldfinch and other.
Well, that sounds like a bond project. What's it called?
It was Project Goldfinch.
Oh, that sounds like something James Bond would have to.
But the weird part is, in the same contract, when they're having the addendums, they change it to, I think, like Project Domino, and it is basically a data center.
Okay, let's come back to the LEAP stuff, though. Yeah, you found that they had spent like $3.75 million with one firm, just on legal work for land acquisition.
Yep.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. And within like a couple of years, and it kept changing too. So they kept adding into it. It was like watching a DPW contract for an over. It's like, hey, you know what? We thought it was going to be this much. Turns out it's actually that much. And then they just keep adding on to it. And the IEDC is like, oh yeah, let's just keep going, bros.
Well, and we've had Gentry in several times, and we give Gentry credit. I think Gentry likes the attention.
Oh,
so
yeah.
He comes in and takes the smoke. But it's like, okay, other than the people in the city of Lebanon, who the hell is benefiting because of this? And I don't see an answer outside of the freebies that the city of Lebanon has been guaranteed.
No, and like you said, credit Gentry for showing up, but at the same time, he's claiming he's like, oh, well, you know what? This LEAP project will pay for everybody's property taxes. Like, yeah, that's not going to happen, and you're going to be out of office before the LEAP project even starts. So you can go back, or you can go in the future, and I'm calling it now. I'm calling it now, Matt. I know that's not going to happen. I'll bet you money on it. And all you're going to say, all you're going to do is shrug your shoulders, like, hey, well, that's what I wanted to happen.
Right.
Not my fault. My predecessor's doing that.
Well, you're going to have 2 referendums in Lebanon already. 2 school referendums and a police station referendum.
Yeah.
So spare me that we're getting rid of property tax.
Yeah,
stuff.
not happening.
But it's amazing to me. You say, okay, that's legal bills on one deal, one firm. Think of all the roads $3.75 million could pave, all the helping the people that take care of the severely disabled. I mean, like how do we say we have no money in our state, but then, oh, yeah, here's $3.75 million just for legal expenses.
Yeah.
To acquire
and
land.
it wasn't just them. I found a Baker Tilly contract. In fact, if you want to just briefly talk about the IEDC, I found, you remember the Three Kings article?
Oh, yes, we remember the Three Kings very well.
So one of the guys on there.
So real quick, there was an article, and most of our audience probably knows this, but we always get new listeners when you're on.
You got to fill them in.
People poking around.
Yeah.
Right? There was an article last year in the Indy Star about these 3 guys who basically controlled a huge portion of the flow of money out of the IEDC, and a bunch of it either went to companies they were affiliated with, they were in charge of, their friends were running, and they dubbed these guys the Three Kings.
Yep. So one of them is Chad Pittman, and, well, for you guys who don't know, David Roberts, Paul Mitchell, and Chad Pittman were the Three Kings. One of the guys, Chad Pittman, who I thought was, king guy, the top of the kings. Funny enough, there is a building called like the Emerging Manufacturing Collaboration Center, the EMC squared. It's over off of Indiana Avenue. He owns that building. I checked the contract. That building goes to 10 different LLCs that he's part of. On top of that, the IEDC leases it from him. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. So I'm trying to figure out who paid to get it built. It was like, was there a joint combination?
I always tell you to watch yourself wherever you go. But it's just like, it's always these uber-connected people dealing with more uber-connected people.
Yeah.
And I think the race thing is the big one to me. It's like, you're going to spend $250,000 for a suite at a race in Washington, D.C. to what? Inform people, hey, we're Indianapolis, we're really into racing. Maybe you didn't know. Yeah. There's a race every May that people really like to. What are we doing?
Yeah. I got a feeling that was an Indiana Chamber thing, because remember, they want to change it from Naptown to Speed City.
Am I wrong, though? Nothing's changed.
No. I think it's slowed down, or it's either it's the same, or they are finding sneakier ways of doing it. Because before, they were so bold. It's like, hey, check out me on a camel in Egypt. Do you remember those pictures?
The governor, right?
Yeah,
Holcomb.
with Holcomb, yeah.
I just, the whole thing to me is just, it's never going to stop.
No, the IEDC is going to be one of those things that become immortal.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And whatever you want to change the name to, it's always going to be the same thing.
Well, and I said this, and I know you shared it. I said, I think you're going to look back in the not too distant future, and you're going to realize, because Michael Hicks was talking about, hey, even if you didn't agree with the IEDC, until Holcomb, it wasn't what it became today.
Yeah.
And he said it just exploded in all these bizarre ways if you were going to try to do economic development that benefits the taxpayer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're going to look back at the death of Indiana, and you're going to realize this was the catalyst, the changing of the landscape, the traditions, the industries, what we thought about to be a Hoosier. This IEDC stuff is the end of it.
Yeah, I think that would be the volcano, basically, for extinction.
Stephen Whitmer, Indy reporter, is our guest. We have so much to talk to. It's been since you've been back. Let's just see how many people we can piss off in 30 minutes. Power. You're big on power.
Yeah.
Jim Merritt, who I love Merritt, and there's some people you're friends with that don't like Merritt, but He is all in on the nuclear power.
Yep.
I say the nuclear power is a scam because there's not one place you can point to in this country that is powered by these small modular reactors.
Yeah.
We keep hearing it's a silver bullet.
Yep.
There's all sorts of giveaways to utility companies to do the SMR research.
Yeah.
What say you?
Yep, totally agree. And they're going to come say, it's like, oh, what are you talking about? We have small modular reactors. They're on submarines. They're on like military stuff. But so when you talk about it, you have to make sure it's like, well, show me where it's being run right now is like a commercial. Show me where it's being run by or a building's being run by it. So I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago, IBJ Media, they had a 4-hour conference on their nuclear event summit. Very well done. I will, I'll give them props to that. But a couple of takeaways that I found was the reason why they want nuclear is because of data centers. Now, I went back and I watched the Summer Reliability Forum from the IURC.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that was like 4 hours.
You gave 4 hours to that?
I put it on like ×2 speed, and I just basically waterboarded my ears for 2 hours. So I checked to see how many times they talked about data centers. It was 23 times. And the most common reason why they were talking about data centers, because they were saying, we are seeing an increase in load primarily driven by large data centers. And this isn't like cloud buildings. This is hyperscalers that they're talking about. This is the stuff that's happening in St. Joseph County and New Carlisle and, soon to be Indianapolis and all over the place in Indiana. And the reason why they want nuclear is to power those because they don't have enough generation between natural gas, coal, which is really funny because then it goes into the next thing, which I think is going to be the ultimate scam. And I can get all the hate. That's fine. But this is what I believe. And I was talking to a few people that are familiar with this whole energy scam. So hear me out.
So there is no nuclear right now because the guy who got picked to the IURC even said this, that he basically said, we're not there with this.
Yeah.
We're not even close, but yet we're building the data centers now.
Yeah.
So if you're 20 years off, what are you doing for 20 years?
Well, all right. So back up a little bit, because when Braun was running for governor, I was at an event, and this was like 23 or 24, and he said, if we were to stick a shovel in the ground now, we won't have a nuclear plant open for 3 to 4 years. I was like, all right, that's fine. But then what they're wanting to do now in the Palisades in Michigan and 3 Mile Island too, what they are doing is they are trying for the very first time in history, in U.S. history, is reopen or restart a nuclear facility.
Oh, no.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Sounds like a horror movie.
Sounds very expensive, too.
Something comes out of the ground that wasn't supposed to.
They're going to Frankenstein this nuclear plant over in Michigan, and it's a $1.5 billion loan from the Office of Energy, I think. And then Michigan is throwing an extra $300,000 on it. Now, they're already a little bit behind, as anticipated. So they're wanting to start it up by like the end of this year or beginning of next year. But I was trying to figure out, I was like, okay, what's worst case scenario?
Well, but what do we do? There is not enough power. It doesn't, and yet we keep approving these data centers.
Yeah.
What are we going to, I'm not trying to be conspiracy
theorist. No, I completely agree.
But if there is not enough power, and you keep building these things, somebody's going to have to go without. I don't see them telling Mr. Data Center Man, hey, you're going to have to shut off for a few hours, Google.
Yeah.
Hey, Zuckerberg, Facebook will be down between the hours of 9 and noon.
Yeah, it'll be like the AI data center. So basically where I'm at is the coal companies can't afford to rebuild or modernize these aging plants. We saw Trump trying to keep one keep one open in Indiana that was never producing anything. And I heard it was for crypto mining. And so the plan is to replace those stranded assets with SMRs. The problem is there isn't a single commercial SMR operating in the U.S. today, which is true. You see them in like Russia and China. The technology is still unproven at scale, which we saw in like Idaho, and the projects being proposed are among the most expensive energy investments ever considered. So what their plan is, but the data centers can afford the power because they're getting all these massive tax incentives too.
Right.
And so they're like, well, we'll help build some of all this. And so the model becomes the taxpayers help fund the reactors, subsidies help attract the data centers, and the data centers are expected to make the economics work.
Yeah. So basically, they're not paying full taxes. They get all this stuff for free.
Yep.
So then they're like, well, we'll use that to help the power grid.
Yep.
But in the immediate future, it doesn't help anybody.
Yeah, because it still has to be turned on at the end of the day.
Right.
And I'm sure you guys saw the...
so you might break even.
Yeah.
In like 10 years.
Exactly. And so you probably saw the connection of the dots with the Jaworowskis.
Yeah. I want to... I'm going to have you back to talk about that because I can't go for an hour with you.
We could offline.
But I did want to ask you, because we're not going to get to the Diego stuff either, but I'll have you back. I am fascinated by how much you hate Greg Ballard. Okay, just hear me out on this,
okay,
right?
I'll hear you.
I'm not a Ballard political fan, right? When he was mayor, I was critical of him, and that was when I was still in the club. I got told all the time, you got to sit down, you got to shut up. Red mayor, blue city, you don't get it, Rob, gold standard.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not a political Greg Ballard fan. Like the cake stuff or the emphasis stuff or the cricket stadium stuff or the Blue Indy stuff, it's all fair game.
Mm-hmm.
But from a big picture perspective of the amount of people he will allow to participate if his campaign gets 10%, the millions of people who have been locked out who can participate. Well, I'm not endorsing him. I'm not saying vote for him, but I'm saying I'm on board with that. You despise Greg Ballard.
I just don't like Greg Ballard. I like what he's doing. I just wish it was a different dude. That's all.
You got to see the bigger picture, man. This is what floors me about you, because you hate the Republicans too. Like, the one way you're going to break them is this guy if he's successful.
No, I know. So I'm okay. I think this is my theory, of course. I think he's just doing this. I don't know if he's bored. I said this about Jamie too. You could have
Rittenhour.
Yeah, Rittenhour. You could have gone into the dusk. You could have gone off like that cowboy or that cowgirl that you got third place out of 4. You could have gone off as the greatest Republican mayor in Indianapolis. It could have been done, but then you decided to do this. And I think it's tragic for his legacy. But you never know what will turn out. Well, there was that.
If he gets 10%, he's a hero.
Yeah, I know. Then it opens the floodgates for everybody. What we're hoping is that the Republicans will straighten out their message. I mean, Democrats are going to Democrat, but then it opens the door for crazy people like yours truly. Right. Yeah, that's where I'm like, I'm okay. That's why I say, like, I'm okay with what he's doing. I just wish it was a different poster boy.
But so that's my question to you. The person you want does not exist, right? Because in order to do you're not raising the money Ballard.
No, I know.
That's my point. The game is so rigged that you either have to be a Ballard with infinite name ID with people who can write money, or you got to be a wealthy person.
Yeah.
And he's going to potentially take that down for millions of people, where now there's this party. And when I asked him here, what are you guys? He's like, well, he didn't use the word mercenaries, but that's basically what
he was like, we're going to be spoiler makers.
Yeah. And I was like, that's perfect for you. And yet I feel like you're so critical of Ballard.
I'm just critical of Ballard. I'm not critical of the what he's doing.
I want what he can do for me, but I'm not going to make it easy on him.
Yeah, I gotta give everybody crap evenly.
Do you buy the Max Engling "Me So Stupid" routine on the $60,000 donation?
Yeah, I do. I'm not in like this was a nefarious thing. It was like I did not know that I couldn't get more than $5,000 because election law is so complicated.
Wild. That's pretty clear.
I mean, that's how my take was. Like, I mean, they're going to do it through proxy at some way, no matter what, because that's just how campaign donations work. I've seen it even locally with with all the candidates running for city council. They'll give money to VOP. VOP will disperse it out to everybody else. You saw it within the primary.
It's a rigged game.
If normal people if they knew what it was, they might do something, but we also know they love their bread and circus.
Okay, before we let you go, because people kill me if I don't ask. Are you still the Libertarian Marion County Party chair?
As of Monday, because I am still the Libertarian chair. There will be a vote on August 8th where I anticipate where I will probably be removed.
Now, they're mad at you because you said the Libertarians deserve to lose their ballot access because immigration?
Yeah. Well, there was a bigger picture to it. That was just a grenade to get some attention on it. And so my biggest problem is, which I will die on this hill, is that if you are not willing to win, if you do not want to win and you just want to spread the message, you should not have ballot access. I said it at that meeting that we had. There's Republicans should lose ballot access because they refuse to win in Marion County. Democrats should lose ballot access because they don't want to win in Indiana. And the same thing with the Libertarians. If your whole point to being on the ballot is to spread the message, go be a Jehovah's Witness then. It's like I am running Marion County because I want to win. We got 3 candidates. 2 of them want to win. 1 of them doesn't. And I am only interested on causing enough trouble where we can get more people part of the Libertarian Party.
You got to have a little bit of circus with the whole thing.
That's what I'm saying. Even there was somebody who made a post like the whole point of being a Libertarian is to start crap and say whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting that you were the hill they were going to die on.
Oh,
and they had this aneurysm about you saying that. And I thought, You're getting more attention than you guys ever get for anything else.
I literally said it at the meeting. You're welcome.
Find him on Twitter at Indy_reporter_. Full disclaimer, I don't agree with all the language you use, so that way people will leave me alone. But I love the amount of digging you do. And I always say this about you. I said it is an invaluable resource because you're doing stuff that the media doesn't do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if there were no, we get so much content out of stuff that you find. So thanks for all the show content.
Happy to do it.
Yeah, we'll take a break. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
I'm Anthony Gary. I started Indy Dwell Real Estate because too many friends, family members, and neighbors had real estate experiences that lacked compassion, explanation, and expertise. You deserve someone in your corner with the heart of a teacher, simplifying every step of the buying or selling process. When you hire me, you get me. Start to finish, you'll never be handed off. No stress, no surprises, just the expert guidance and results you deserve. Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate. Call or text 317-756-1159. 317-756-1159.
Did you know Honeysuckle Hill in Brazil offers more than just a fabulous made-from-scratch meal at the bistro? It also has an adjoining cottage, great for a perfect, relaxing weekend away with a scenic waterfront view. The cottage offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with spa-like tile showers, full kitchen, living room with fireplace, laundry facilities, and a full deck overlooking the lake. And Andy, one of the owners, delivers breakfast in a picnic basket at 8:30 each morning. Plan the perfect weekend away at the scenic Honeysuckle Hill property on the water in beautiful Brazil. Book today by visiting their website at honeysucklehillb.com.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks so much for joining us. We're going to have the conversation about the libertarians here in just a few minutes because it is time to dump. It is time for everyone to dump the libertarians. They are a clown organization. There's some great people who have been a part of the libertarians over the years. There are some great people who are still a part of the libertarians who have tried to help that group, but it is over. And I'm going to tell you about what I saw yesterday. And nobody's tried harder than me because I believe in freedom of speech. I believe in voices being heard. I believe in, trying to lift up people who want to make a difference. And against the advice of many, many people over the years, I am the one prominent member of the media who has actually given those people a voice, and I'm done with it. And you should be too. And the best thing for the libertarians is them to finally lose their ballot access, because that will force them to either become a serious party with serious people or go away. And I don't care at this point. I don't care at this point. I'm so pissed off about yesterday. And so we'll talk about it here in a moment. But first of all, many homeowners, they're sitting on more equity than they realize, guys. And so if you've owned your home for more than a few years, now may be a good time to explore your options. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage is a local mortgage advisor helping Central Indiana homeowners refinance to access cash for home improvements, consolidate higher interest debt, or simply review whether a better loan structure is available. Gary believes every homeowner deserves a personalized mortgage review, not a one-size-fits-all solution from a call center. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more. Loansbygary.homes to learn more. Gary Tedrow, Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 179207, equal housing lender. And guys, don't forget, please help us out. Help us grow this program. If you like our dedication to Indiana news, politics, and government, you're not going to hear anywhere else. If you're sick of the team sport stuff you get from media, we're the place for you. We hate all these people equally, and it shows. Like, share, and subscribe. Give us that thumbs up if you're listening to us, watching us on YouTube, live or on demand. Give us that little thumbs up. It really does help us grow. Share the feed out, Twitter, Facebook, whatever you got. Let people know about us. And last but certainly not least, subscribe to the channel. All right. before we get to the libertarians, I want to play some audio for you. And we start with, look, it's so funny because the people that are obsessed with the Save Heritage Indiana event people, and they're Nazis, and they're KKK members. And you look at this going, there are actual authoritarians in front of you. There are actual socialist communists who there is recorded history, these people who are attaching the labels to themselves of socialist. And look at throughout human history how socialist or communist governments have operated. They are the ones who actually do the death and the destruction. And they're actually in front of you saying we're this. And for some reason, they're getting a free pass. And yet people go to a law-abiding, peaceful event where they're just like, hey, we don't want people illegally in the country. And if you're here illegally, you should not be in the country. And we probably need better safeguards around people we're letting legally into the country, which we'll talk about from J.D. Vance here in a moment. Those people now become the boogeyman. The Democrat socialists are here. They're taking over. They're taking over the Democrat Party. And this Megan Romer chick, who's the co-chair of the Democrat Socialists of America, who was the lady who got all the publicity. She went on Fox News. To her credit, she was honest. She was asked about all the stuff. Well, they want to abolish the Supreme Court. They want to abolish the military. They want to abolish ICE. They want to get rid of borders. Yes. We want to do all these things. She was on with Chris Cuomo, News Nation, I think is what he's on. And she gets asked about this by Chris Cuomo about, are you getting pushback? And she said not a single Democrat operative has called her to tell her to tone it down or stop talking about all the radical views of the Democrat socialists. Clip one, take a listen.
Democrats have to be calling you, right? And saying, listen, love the energy. Love that you're getting these new voters. Love that you're getting us back in the blue collar business. It's great. But just, you gotta relax a little bit with the abolish this and the get rid of that. And it sounds too radical. It sounds like you want to destroy our constitutional republic. What do you say?
Well, not a single phone call from a Democratic operative has come to my phone. So I don't know if they're calling somebody. It's not me.
We've said this for a long time now. There's two factions of the Democrat Party. There's the Democrats who believe the stuff these people believe, the absolute authoritarianism as it relates to government, and no border, and no ICE, and no police, and no Senate, and no Supreme Court. Like there's a growing faction of the Democrat Party that actually believes this stuff. And apparently to people like the libertarians, because I never hear boo from the libertarians about the Democrat socialist people, that's okay. You want to go to a private event where people pay and dress nice and have a good time and they stream it for everyone to see and all they want is the border secured and people legally in the country, out of the country. Well, you're a Nazi or a KKK member. But these people, it's Feinstein. That's the first part. The Democrat socialists are growing in numbers and the people who identify with them. The second group are the Democrats, the establishment wing of the party that's too afraid to stop them. And because they've been too afraid to stop them, they're going to take over. The Democrat socialists are going to control the Democrat Party within 5 years. You watch. Which brings me to New Jersey Congressman Josh Gottheimer. He was on Fox News, and he said, no, these people are communists. Call them whatever you want. They're communists. And they're trying to take over the party. This is the first dude, like an actual elected Democrat, Josh Gottheimer, Democrat Congressman, New Jersey, who I have heard say in elected office of prominence, say the quiet part out loud. These people are communists, and they're trying to take over the party, and they don't represent him. Clip 2. Take a listen.
Well, obviously, I'm a very proud, common sense Democrat, and I don't think DSA members are Democrats. They're socialists, right? And I'm all for them having their own party if they want one. But if they're trying to take over our party, that's unacceptable to me. And their values, their ideas, and are certainly not in line with ours, and they don't support our leadership. They're trying to use the Democratic Party as a vessel for their ideas. And as you heard in some of these conventions, literally they're supporting the Communist Manifesto and Trotsky. They're anti-American. They're anti-cop. They don't believe in borders, and frankly, the good news is there's only about 150,000 of them registered, and there's 45 million Democrats. And so we should make it very clear that they're not Democrats and they're not welcome in the Democratic Party.
These people are the actual threat. Look through recorded human history, how those governments go. Governments controlled by how these people believe. They are the actual threat. Not the people who go to the private event, who simply say we want the border enforced, we want people legally in the country kicked out because they broke the law, and we want stricter rules about who can legally enter the country. Those people are not Nazis. They're not KKK members. They're not a threat to anyone. These people are the actual threat. And this dude just said it. Yet, people like the goofy-ass libertarians, you don't hear boo about it. You'll hear how the people who go to the private event are the Nazis and the KKK people. These people are taking over the Democrat Party. There may be 150,000 of them in number. But in terms of belief system, it grows by the day inside the Democrat Party. Now, Jason, can we slip ahead to clip 4? Thank you. And then we'll come back to 3. I don't mean to throw too much at you because I want to come back to the Trump stuff in a moment. But J.D. Vance was on Fox News. And one of the things that the Save Heritage Indiana people, one of the things they were talking about on Saturday is we've got to tighten legal immigration in this country because people have abused the legal immigration system. And apparently that gets them labeled as KKK members and Nazis. But the things they're describing, the things they're talking about are real. About people who abuse the legal immigration system. And so J.D. Vance was on Fox News, and he was discussing specifically the mass asylum fraud that took place under Biden and how the Trump administration has not only tried to stop that, but also get these people out of the country. It's real. Immigration fraud is real. Asylum fraud is real. Here's J.D. Vance.
There's also, as you know, Will, under the Biden administration, there was a big blurring of the lines between illegal and legal immigration. The Biden administration would often take people who were coming in on fraudulent asylum claims, fraudulent refugee claims, and basically wave the magic wand of amnesty and say, we're not going to enforce the immigration laws against those people. The first thing, and maybe the most important thing that we did in the Trump administration, is that we stopped that from happening. But then you still have a lot of people who benefited from that Biden administration amnesty program. We're trying to unwind as much of that as possible. We've already had some success, by the way, Will, despite the fact that left-wing radicals in the justice system, the court system, have tried to stop us. We have been able to denaturalize and actually unwind that temporary protected status, a lot of those fraudulent asylum claims. So that work has been happening, but it's going to keep on happening so long as Donald Trump is president. I think Minneapolis is the tip of the iceberg. I think there's sort of a good news, bad news situation in that, Will, which, the good news is that we're stopping the fraud that's happening against the American taxpayer. The bad news is that my own children will never be able to attend school at the Quality Leering Center. So, you got.
So anyway, we went into another part of that. But the first part of it was what we have been saying. It doesn't make you an ist. It doesn't make you a phobe. It doesn't make you a Nazi. It doesn't make you a KKK member. To say countries, which the left doesn't want us to have a country anymore. That's obvious. The socialist woman said no borders. The libertarians believe that too, no borders. And I believe that we are, as a country, have borders. And we have rules and we have laws. And it's a privilege to be able to come to this country. And we are allowed to have standards for people who we let into the United States of America, both legally and if you're here illegally, throw you out. And I'll look at any person, any hour of the day, and have that conversation. Either you have a country or you don't. And if you have a country, that means you have borders. And it means if people break the law coming into the country, then you throw them out. I don't care whether they're violent or not, because if you let them stay, you're telling everybody else, come on in. You're telling everyone else the rules don't matter. Don't stand in line. Don't do it the right way. Don't assimilate. Just do whatever the hell you want to do. That's not right. And the other part of that is the people who have taken advantage of the asylum process and taken advantage of it with collaboration from the Biden administration. There's no doubt the Biden administration, as Vance laid out, was totally in on it. They totally knew what was going on, and they're okay with it because it's a way to let people who shouldn't have been allowed to walk through the front door. Well, they're asylum seekers. Let them in. It does not make you a bad person to say, I believe in law and order, and I believe in rules, and I believe there should be standards to enter this country, and if you don't abide by them, you're out. Trump, okay, we'll go back to 3. Trump got asked about, there's this saying, right? Taco. Trump always chickens out. And Trump got asked yesterday about chickening out again on Iran. And not attacking Iran again after saying he was going to do it. And this time, you'll hear him say, he didn't do it because he wanted to give them one last chance before, as he described it, decapitation. He also says in this clip that he doesn't seem to care at all how much this thing is hurting you because he's under no time constraints. The gas prices, the price of everything. No, I don't know. Take a listen to this.
I want to give them every last chance before decapitation. Very tough to do what we have planned, still planned. We'll see what happens. But it's a very, very tough thing to do. I think I'm very proud of the fact that I'll give people a chance. This is a big move. To do an attack that big on a country, I'd rather not do it. Now, we've already, through lots of large attacks, but they were normal large. Hopefully they'll come to their senses, because what happened cannot have a nuclear weapon, but hopefully they'll come to their senses. So they called me, and they said, please don't attack, we'll make a deal. That's the real truth, and everyone knows it. And who wouldn't call? And they found out through leaks and sleazebags, a lot of sleazebags, leakers. Leakers should be put in jail. They have to strengthen up the laws for leakers. But in this case, leakers helped because they said the severity of the attack, and Iran knew it. They knew what was coming. It was going to come last night, and it would have gone on for a long time, and there'd be essentially very little left. There'd be nothing left. And if I'm given a chance to let a lot of people live, I want to give that chance. So I'm under no time constraint.
You want to be talking about just completely detached from reality at this point. Because Iran came out and was like, we didn't call anybody. We're not even negotiating with him. Now, you can trust the Iranians as far as you can throw them. This is just, nobody cares anymore. Nobody's listening to anything Trump's saying. Nobody believes you're going to attack them. Nobody believes you're going to do it. Nobody believes any of it. And certainly not the Iranians. Iranians are like, all we got to do is make it to November with you, dude. And then you're going to lose. You're going to lose seats. You may lose both the House and the Senate. And then you're done. Trump has managed this, both in the actual management of the war itself and the PR, the public relations aspect to it. He's blown it on every level possible. He clearly does not have the stones to do the thing. And it's like these idle threats that nobody believes. And then for him to say, I'm under no time constraints, he's telling you he doesn't give a damn what you're paying for gas. He doesn't care. He doesn't give a damn about what diesel's costing, which is driving the price of everything else up because of the cost to move it. He doesn't care. No time constraints. He'll go as long as he wants. Nobody on either side cares about us. I think that's the most frustrating thing of all of this, is that nobody seems to care about us on either side. All right, one more piece of audio. The SAVE Act, the Voter ID Act, it remains held up in the Senate. The House has passed it multiple times, and the Senate will not pass it. And you got one of two options to pass it. Either you got to figure out a way to put it in a reconciliation bill, which the parliamentarian has thrown out, but they've tried it. They're trying it a new way with the new way the House passed it. You either try to do it that way, or ultimately you got to just go to the talking filibuster. And I've been an advocate, no matter who's in power, of the talking filibuster for years. You want to stand up there for 9 weeks and shrivel away to nothing and read the phone book all day and use the can in front of everybody? Go for it. You can delay the Senate as long as you want. I'm all for it. You're going to sit up there and shrivel away to nothing and make an idiot out of yourself? Go for it. But one of the things with the filibuster, and especially the filibuster as it exists today, is that our elections don't have that many consequences because it's so hard to get something through the Senate. Some senator could just say, nope, object. And if there's not 60 votes, nobody has to earn it. I want to see people earn it. Whether the Democrats or Republicans are in charge, I want people to know your vote matters. There's going to be consequences. There's no backstop. Maybe people will actually give a damn and start paying attention. And if people are willing for 9 weeks or 10 weeks or months or whatever to stand up there and talk and delay something, okay. But other than that, shouldn't be allowed to do it. Votes need to matter. People need to feel some pain for their actions if they pick the wrong people. And so Andy Ogle, he's a Republican congressman from Tennessee. He was on a program called Morning Wire. And he was talking about his frustration that the Senate refuses to go to the talking filibuster and pass the Voter ID Act. Now, I believe they'd go to talking filibuster for all of it. But he basically says Thune should resign. John Thune, head of the Senate, should resign if he's not willing to pass the Voter ID Act. Take a listen.
Have you guys found some common ground here, or is there still a lot of tension there?
Well, I would say we're a lot frustrated, quite frankly. Senator Thune has the opportunity to put this on the House floor. They can do the talking filibuster. Look, in 1964, the Civil Rights Act was passed because of the talking filibuster. 1965, the Voting Rights Act was passed because of the talking filibuster. The Dodd-Frank bill was passed because of the talking filibuster. So there's a precedent here when you have monumental, transformative pieces of legislation for the Senate to use this procedural maneuver to get it done. So, John Thune, do your job, get it done, or get out of the way.
They're not going to do it because these senators don't want to work. One thing about elected officials, most of them, they avoid work like the plague. You can always count on them to avoid work like the plague, and these senators don't want to work for it. That talking filibuster is a lot of work. Some of them are into it. Some of them do it. Most of them are like, I ain't doing that. And so they like the system just as it is. And they know, the Republicans know, the same way the Democrats, when they're not in power, they don't want to have to work for it. So they're not going to do it. It's not going to get done. Despite overwhelming national support of people of both parties for voter identification, which is just saying, here's me, picture matches, signature matches, here's where I live, thank you, go vote. That's it. That's what we're talking about here. It's not going to get done. And you're going to keep insanity in places like California, and you're going to keep seeing in the middle of the night these votes flip in the swing states. It's going to keep happening. As long as you don't know who's filled out a ballot, who's requested a ballot, who's sent a ballot in, who's showing up in front of you, you can always make the ballots say whatever you want them to say. You can get as many of them as you want because there's no check and balance without a guarantee that the person requesting the ballot and filling out the ballot is the person they're saying without voter ID. It's just going to keep happening. And the Republicans are apparently okay with it. They're apparently okay with it. Hey, do you guys have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Worried about having to go outside with your furry friend every time they do to keep an eye on them? Avoid those freezing cold winters, blazing hot summers with our friends from All American Dog Fence. Maybe the HOA won't allow a fence. All American Dog Fence, they got you covered. It's a cost-effective, easy-to-use, in-ground fence system that's designed to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. The owners, Kelly and Jeff, they're huge fans of our show. They got 3 dogs of their own. They loved All American Dog Fence so much that they bought the business. How about that for a testimonial? All American Dog Fence prides themselves in a couple things. Number 1, price compared to the big guys. And number 2, customer service compared to the big guys. Shop local. All American Dog Fence right here in Indiana. 317-862-6606. 317-862-6606. Their Pet Stop products backed up with a lifetime warranty made right here in the United States of America. And get this. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and you get an incredible $200 off. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and you get an incredible $200 off. All American Dog Fence. Call or text 317-862-6606 and see their incredible products for yourself at their website, allamericandogfence.com. Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, it's a hard one for me, guys, but it is time for all of us to wave bye-bye to the libertarians because while there's many fine people in the Libertarian Party, the party itself, a clown show, and they're not serious, and it's just time. I know it's hard. It's time for us to bid adieu to the libertarians. We'll talk about it when we come back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day, Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Is the inside of your house a total mess, like a complete dumpster fire? Call AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning. When you walk into your house after using AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning, you will see and smell the difference. They take great pride in their workers and treat your home like their own. All cleaners pass through a background check and drug screening. Call today and mention you heard about AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning on the Rob Kendall Show, and you will get an incredible $50 off your first clean. AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning serves all of Central Indiana. Book your appointment today by calling 317-530-8148. 317-530-8148. Welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks so much for joining us. This next segment, it's a tough one because I am about the only legitimate mainstream member of the media Abdul has that's given a voice to the libertarians. And it is time, after years and years and years of those people being completely irrelevant and behaving like clowns, to accept the fact that that's what the party is. And There's a lot of good people in the Libertarian Party. I've made a lot of friends from people in the Libertarian Party, but they're not in charge. And they're not the dominant voice anymore. And, as I talked to one well-known libertarian yesterday about this, they said, the problem is good people get in and then they see they can't make a difference and they just get sick of the idiots and they leave. And the idiots are the ones who are left. And for 35 years, the libertarians have had ballot access in the state of Indiana, and they've done nothing with it. They've been given one opportunity after another. They've had people such as myself with platforms who have tried to help them, who have helped them. They had an incredible opportunity in 2020 after the campaign by Donald Rainwater, which many, many people voted Libertarian for the first time. They did nothing with it. The Libertarian Party in its structure has more people in it who want to keep the structure, who are fine with the insanity because they get to have some say or prominence in the insanity, rather than actually have taken advantage of the opportunities given to them and make a difference and grow a party and be legitimate and be treated like a legitimate political party. And there's a lot of people that have run or had prominence in the Libertarian Party that are fine with being a 2 or 3% joke because they get to oversee it. And yesterday was the last straw for me. And, when I've lifted the Libertarian Party up, not because I agree with all of their positions. I don't. There's a lot of positions they have that are like, no, thank you. But I'm a firm believer in freedom of speech. I'm a firm believer in allowing people to participate in the political process. And as such, with the Libertarians having ballot access, I said they are that, and they should be heard. While other members of the media laugh at them for the joke that they are, I've always put them up with the Republicans and Democrats because they're a political party in the state of Indiana. And after yesterday, I got to thinking, this is the year where we determine whether people are political parties in the state of Indiana. The Secretary of State's race determines ballot access. And in a year where we determine whether the Libertarians have earned the right to keep that, the answer is clearly no. 35 years they've been on your ballot. How many elected offices across the state do they have to their name? How many statewide offices not only have they ever had, but ever even been competitive in? The best they've ever done is Rainwater in 2020. In which most of the votes for Rainwater weren't about the Libertarians. They were about hating Holcomb. I mean, COVID goes away as the primary issue. What happens? Rainwater, what did he get? 4.5% this last time? Which exceeds what normal candidates get. They had Jeff Moore, who was their Secretary of State candidate, again, thanks to me, got publicity, who got 5.5%. He was a good candidate. I mean, Moore had the distinct misfortune of having to run with that joke, James Siniak, for Senate, who did his best Garth on Wayne's World rendition when he totally froze up on the statewide debate. He's been more mean to me the past day than he was to Todd Young the entire time he was running for U.S. Senate. Normally, the Libertarian candidates, not all of them, again, there have been some good ones over the years, but by and large, the party has been hijacked by clowns, unserious people who embarrass themselves and the people that have to associate with them. And again, out of some sense of obligation, saying, as a freedom of speech advocate, I will give these people a platform. I will talk about them when others will not. I'm done with that after yesterday. Because repeatedly yesterday, I saw people who either have been officers or at the very least people of prominence in the Libertarian Party insinuate or flat out say that the people that went to the Save Heritage Indiana event are Nazis or bigots or KKK members. And I'm done with them after that. Because a lot of the views that the people at that event have, like secure borders, like if you're in the country illegally and you've broken the law, you need to be removed from the country. Like we have too many people, as J.D. Vance said, who abused our asylum system, that those people need to be removed. I believe those things. And I know myself, I'm certainly not a Nazi, and I'm not a KKK member, and I'm not a bigot. And my views have nothing to do with someone's race. Someone who broke the law legally entering from Canada, I view it the same as Mexico, or Germany, or Britain, or Africa, or China. It doesn't matter to me. We are a country of laws, and one of the most important of them is that we control who comes into our country and how they do it. And for years, I've kind of ignored sort of the staple of the libertarian platform where they don't really believe in borders. Now, some of them do, but the actual party apparatus itself, and it is amped up again under Trump, that they don't believe in borders. And I have sort of willfully ignored that. But what we do here is we hold all the sides accountable. The Democrats, the Republicans, and the libertarians pretend to be big boys with their ballot access, so them as well. We don't talk about them a lot because they're never relevant. But if you want to be seen and you want to be heard, I'm going to make sure people see and hear you and know what you are. And know what you think they are and know what you think I am. I want people to know what libertarians think my audience is, because I know many of you in my audience believe the same that I do. Laws matter. Coming into this country is a privilege, not a right. If you break the law, you should be removed from the country. And I'll look at anybody, any time of the day, all day, every day, and say that right to their face with no problems whatsoever. The libertarians yesterday, prominent people, without any person in the power structure of the Libertarian Party, who I know were aware of the conversations because they responded inside of the conversations, nobody said stop. Including Lori Schillings, the candidate for Secretary of State, who it's her election that controls whether the libertarians have ballot access or not. She did the me so stupid routine when she got called out in the conversation to find out what she actually believes. Me know nothing about event. Oh, bull, lady. You would be the only person involved in politics who didn't know about the event, and you're the candidate for Secretary of State. Gutless. Cowardly. Pick a side. Do you think we're Nazis or don't you? Now, again, I wasn't at that event. I watched it on the internet. Did I watch every second of it closely? No. Mostly listening while I was doing other stuff. But I didn't hear anybody espouse Nazi propaganda. I certainly, when I was watching part of it, didn't see anybody dressed in Nazi paraphernalia, armbands, shaved heads, tattoos. I didn't hear anybody saying anything racist, because I don't consider saying we have borders racist. I didn't see anybody in white sheets or hoods. In fact, people were dressed up very nice. They're very polite. They're very respectful. I saw a lot of people in the audience that I know. And what I know is, while I don't like Todd Rokita, I certainly don't like Micah Beckwith. There's a whole bunch of reasons I can lay out about that. They're not Nazis. And they're not KKK members. And when you play the everyone I don't like is a Nazi game, you demean the people who actually suffered under those people, the KKK and the Nazis. You belittle what they went through, and you belittle the horrific deeds those people did and the impact that they had. And when I see it over and over and over again from people of prominence in the Libertarian Party. Some people have been candidates for public office for them. I'm going to take you at your word. You think I'm a Nazi. Now, this show is in the process of being picked up by other media outlets that have some requirements, so I'm trying to, and we'll be telling you more about that in the not too distant future. So I'm in the process of training myself to have applicable standards that those people abide by. So I'm not going to say exactly what I think of you people right here or what you can do with yourself. The Libertarian Party is a joke. And while there are nice people in it, they don't control anything with it. They've had 35 years and they've accomplished nothing. They fight harder against people who believe in open borders. They're more mad, they're more vocal about people who fight against open borders, who believe in rules, who believe in laws. They're more mad about that. They're more vocal about that. They're more pissed off about that than they are things like property taxes, utility bills, IEDC corruption, tolling, crony capitalism. I don't see those posts from almost anybody, certainly not with the vigor and enthusiasm and name calling I did for the people who went to the Save Heritage Indiana event. And I never hear it when the Abolish ICE events take place. I never hear it. So if that's what the Libertarian Party is, fine. You not only deserve to lose, you take care of that on your own. You certainly deserve to lose your ballot access. I hope you do. Because losing ballot access is going to force the libertarians that are left to decide one of two things. Either we get our act together and become a party of adults who actually punish the children, the idiots, the clowns, or we've let them take it over. Or we let them take it over and you're done forever. I don't care either way. I told you guys in the weeks leading up, I was down to 3 people for Secretary of State. It's 2 now. Under no circumstances should anyone vote for Lori Schillings because she's okay with it. She had every opportunity yesterday to step up and say, no, I don't think those people are Nazis. I maybe don't agree with them, but I don't think they're Nazis. I don't think they're KKK members. She didn't do any of it. And she was fully aware of the conversation because she engaged in it. I regret ever helping any of those people because they haven't done anything with all the help they got. I know many, many other people who I've talked to who feel the exact same way. I didn't help them because I believed in some libertarian surgeons. I didn't think they were going to be some great party that was going to, be competitive in every election cycle, but I believed in free speech. I still do. I believe in the idea that voices matter. But if you're going to call me a Nazi or people that I know that were there that are Nazis that are certainly not, if you're going to demean what it means to have been a Nazi or means to be a Nazi today and all the horrific things they've done, if you're going to belittle the suffering that people went through at the hands of Nazis or the KKK, if you're going to do the everyone I disagree with is a Nazi routine, I can't and won't give you a voice anymore. So I'm done. And over the years, all the times that the libertarians just sank ratings, we had these clowns on that were just horrible for what I do every day, and we kept doing it because we believe in freedom of speech. No more. Everyone should absolutely vote against Lori Schillings and send a message to that joke of a party that thinks you're a Nazi, that thinks you're a bigot, that thinks you're a KKK member. If you want borders that matter, the best thing to happen to the libertarians is for them to lose their ballot access. And the only way to make that happen is ensure Lori Schillings, the libertarian candidate for Secretary of State, does not get 2%. They want to think you're Nazis, treat them accordingly. All right, we'll take a break. We got a lot more left to come. Watching The Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use, in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
In Congress, I get all sorts of insider stock tips. Sure, I cashed in. It's my Beltway bonus. But now here comes Senator Todd Young with his total ban on congressional stock trades.
Freaking Mr. Clean Marine. Todd Young's got real guts taking us on. Young's gonna cost me millions.
Had enough of this? Contact Senator Todd Young to say thanks and let him know that you stand with his plan to ban stock trading for all members of Congress.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. Indiana news, politics, and government you won't get anywhere else. Honeysuckle Hill Bistro, you know, we love them on the water in beautiful Brazil. Evening out, evening away. You can do it right there. Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. They're open Friday for dinner, Saturday for dinner, lunch for Sunday brunch buffet. And listen to the menu this week. Listen to some of the specials. This week, if you're thinking about an evening away, Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage is the place to do it. Listen to the specials. Company meatloaf, bacon-wrapped pork medallion with sriracha honey drizzle. Oh, my goodness. Salted caramel cheesecake. All this week at the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro, and a hummingbird cake. That sounds amazing, too. All this week at the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. How good is it? Ask our super chatter, Ken Eagold. That is the regular stop for Ken Eagold. He's like Norm at Cheers at that place. He'll tell you, it's all good. Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage, on the water, beautiful Brazil, great view, outdoor dining, awesome experience. 812-443-3003, 812-443-3003, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. Okay, referendums, guys. There is new data out on the referendums, and it sounds so weird to say. Good news, there's only going to be 38 of them this year. You're like, what? Why is that good news? Well, I say good news because that's a record for referendums, which is certainly not good news. But it's still way fewer than the estimate. And the estimate said there could be anywhere from 45 to 100, so they're way under the estimate, which is good news. And the Capitol Chronicle had a big article about this, and about the referendums, and in total, school districts are asking for $500 million in tax increases. School districts across the state are asking for $500 million in tax increases on the ballot this November. And 37, the Capitol Chronicle, the big article about this, 37 of the 39 are asking to adopt or renew levies for operating expenses like salaries, benefits, and supplies. I'm sorry, 39 reference. I'm sorry, 39, not 38. Only one is asking for a building referendum to build something, and only one is asking for a referendum for building safety. 37 school districts are trying to raise your taxes because they can't do the day-to-day operation of educating kids. Salaries, benefits, and supplies. Guys, that was never the intention of the referendum. That was never the goal of the referendum. The whole premise of the referendum was in case of some catastrophe, some emergency, some super unforeseen thing, you have the ability to go to the public and go, can we raise your taxes to do this? And every year since 2008, that clause, the referendum clause, has been completely bastardized by schools. They don't give a damn at all about what the law says. They don't give a damn at all about what the intent was. They just said, we're going to do whatever the hell we want to do, and we think we can use enough kids as human shields, we'll be able to pull it off. Salaries, benefits, supplies. The job of administering a school system, and they're like, nah, we can't do it without going above the tax cap. That is unbelievable. So the good news is 37 is a lot lower than what we thought. The bad news is it's still for stuff in which school districts are saying we refuse to get our act together and we refuse to be able to take care of our basic job without asking you for more money. There's an estimate that only 10 districts are pursuing referendums for the first time. That means roughly 30 are school districts renewing referendums. Which leads me to what have I always told you guys? If you stop them, you're much more likely to keep them stopped. If they pass, you never get them back. You have to stop them before they pass the first time. Where I live is a great example. What happened? 11 years ago, school system goes for referendum. We beat the hell out of those guys. It was awesome. I've never had more fun in my entire life. And we kicked their ass. And every year they were aware this group is organized. They're here. They're ready. If we go for this again, it's probably not going to pass. And we're going to piss more people off. And so for 11 years, they didn't go for one. And then this year, when they had the opportunity, what'd the school system do? And we had Shane Hacker, the assistant superintendent of Brownsburg Schools, here to detail it. He said, we didn't want to fight with you guys. We didn't want to go through it again. Because they believed there was a real chance it was going to fail. They cut a deal for a lot less money for working with the other government entities and avoided a referendum. Our fight made them work, and when they worked, they did the right thing. The data is overwhelming. 30 school systems, roughly 30 school systems, are going to renew the referendum. They're not saying, hey, we got this. It got us through this. We solved the issue. Now we're done. No, it becomes the baseline. You have to defeat them. If they pass, you will never get it back. It's so hard because then they do the thing and they say, oh, well, we're not asking for any more money. We're just asking for the same amount of money, which, of course, the same amount of money is a tax increase over what you'd pay if your school system didn't have a referendum. If you beat them, and you beat them bad, they usually get the memo. And you can avoid them probably. Not some schools will come back, but for years to come. Now, here's where this gets really interesting. Here's where the real scam comes in, because you got to know numbers, right? Remember the number I told you about? And when you take the numbers, you think it through logically, you go, yeah, that's right. The number they're asking for, according to the Capitol Chronicle, school systems across the state in terms of tax increases is $500 million. There's 39 school systems asking for referendums. There's hundreds and hundreds of school systems across the state asking for $500 million. 39 are asking for $500 million. The Indiana Coalition for Public Education estimates property tax changes in Senate Bill 1 cost public schools $744 million through 228. So all the schools across the state are going to lose $744 million. All across Indiana, hundreds of school districts. Yet just 39 of them are asking for $500 million. When you think about it that way, the math starts to not add up pretty quickly. And so what did Anthony Gary from Indy Real Estate lay out for us when he gave the totals for the referendums? He said a lot of these are add-ons. They're not just asking to keep the referendum going. They're adding taxes to the referendum. This isn't about just staying afloat. This is about they're raising your taxes. Which leads me to perhaps our Dumbass of the Day award winner, although I kind of gave that to the Libertarian Party as a collective in Indiana. Here's what the Capitol Chronicle wrote about Greg Porter, Democrat state rep from Indianapolis. Citing the state's $4 billion in reserves, of course, remember, reserves are government speak for overtaxation. We took more taxes from you than we needed to run the government, so here it sits. And they always tout reserves like it's a great thing. Reserves are just code for overtaxation. We took more money from you than we needed to fund the government. Citing the state's $4 billion in reserves, overtaxation, the top-ranking Democrat, Greg Porter, on House Ways and Means Committee, called for the State Board of Finance Monday to return $98 million from the state's general fund to the K-12 tuition support. Not give you your money back, which they overtaxed you for. Reserves are overtaxation. Not give you that money back, but spend it. And it's always more on public education. Listen to this quote from this idiot. Our public schools are fighting to stay afloat, he said. They shouldn't have to wait for the next budget to get relief. The board has the authority to give that money back to our kids. Oh, here's the guy that says you work for the kids. No, you don't, Greg. You work for the taxpayers. The kids don't pay the taxes. I pay the taxes. You can't give it back to the kids because they didn't earn it. Nothing makes me madder than when you hear these bleeding heart liberal, it's for the kids. No, it's for the taxpayers. Education is a service provided to the taxpayers. They pay for it. The kids go to school. I have the kid. She goes to school. I pay for the service. The service is provided to me. I get to make the choices. That's why I vote for school board and not the kids. That's why I pay the taxes and not the kids. When Olivia Kendall starts paying her taxes, starts saying property taxes, you can start saying it's for her. Until then, it's for Rob Kendall. I pay. It's just a matter of will. It's never about the taxpayer. It's always about some special interest group, daycare, public schools. They take all of this money from you that they don't need, and then once they figure that out, because of course they took it because they can't revenue forecast, and nobody got punished for that. But then when they take it from you, it's never like, hey, why don't we make everybody whole first? Why don't we give back all the tax increases since we didn't need the money? Then if we have some excess, then maybe we can figure out what to do with that. No, it's always, how can we spend it? I also challenge this moron, Greg Porter, to go do a little walking trip with me down Odell Street in Brownsburg. See, all the schools are basically like on the same street in Brownsburg. They're like in the same, very close geographical area. It'll be fun, Greg. We'll go past the administration building. We'll go past Brown Elementary. We'll go past the 2 football fields. We'll go past the 4 field houses. We'll go past the state-of-the-art high school. We'll go past West Middle School. We'll go past the multi-gajillion-dollar tennis court complex. You tell me, Greg, after we do our walking tour, if the Brownsburg school system is, quote, fighting to stay afloat. We can do it in about like 30 minutes. It's not a lot of time. All schools are right there together. It's entitlement. It's entitlement from the schools, and it's entitlement from the lawmakers. They believe, the schools and the lawmakers believe your job is to shut up and pay. You exist so that we can operate. They don't work for you, you work for them. You exist so that we can do whatever the hell we want. And we decide how much you're going to pay based on whatever we want to do. And, you know, it's hard to be too mad at this guy. The Republicans control everything. They've created the system Greg Porter doesn't have a say in anything as much as he might want to think that he does. It's the Republicans, and they say the system is fine. $500 million in proposed tax hikes by the from a system created by the party that's supposed to be for low taxes and limited government. $500 million of tax increases by a system set up by the Republicans. They're like, this is fine. $4 billion of overtaxation by the Republicans, and they say it's fine. This is great. Vote for us. You wouldn't want the Democrats to be in charge of anything, now would you? It's absolutely disgusting. Absolutely gross. One thing that's not gross, one thing that's awesome, Double D's Barbecue. We love Double D's, open Wednesday through Saturday, lunch and dinner. And when it comes to authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue, our friends at Double D's, they're not screwing around. The owners, Dennis and Tina, they're from Memphis. Their son Garrett's in the business with them as well. They take it all very serious. Authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. They've got specials every day. Tomorrow's Wednesday. That is Wing Day. Our pal C Mills will tell you, best darn wings in the whole world. Double D's Barbecue in Clayton, right there at 40 and 39. Little bit of a trip. Totally worth it, though. They've been the winner of Best Ribs and Best Sauce at Rib Fest in Hendricks County. They take their barbecue very serious. See it for yourself. See the full menu. Ribs, brisket, and more. DDBBQ317.com. DDBBQ317.com. Guys, it's hour 3. It's 11 o'clock. And you know, hour 3 is brought to you by our great friend, John Rust. And it's my opportunity to remind you to save the date and come join us Saturday, October the 3rd in Seymour at the palatial Rust Estate. He's having a big old party. And all of you very loyal, very amazing Rob Kendall Show listeners, viewers are invited. All you got to do, RSVP. rustforamerica@gmail.com. That's the email address. rustforamerica@gmail.com. There's going to be an antique car show, patriotic music, lunch catered by the aforementioned Double D's. I'm going to give a little speech about how awesome the country is. Jason's birthday. So we're going to have birthday cake for Jason's birthday and a whole bunch more. Guys, come hang out with us. We would love to see you, love to hang out, love to have some fun. Saturday, October 3rd. Event starts at noon. Oktoberfest in Seymour, I believe, is going on that same weekend, so you can go over to that afterwards when you're done. All you got to do, just send John an email. Let him know you're coming. Just say, hey, here's my name. Here's how many people I'm bringing with me. Bam, you're ready to go. rustforamerica@gmail.com. rustforamerica@gmail.com. All right, hour 3 is here. We're going to take our final break of the day, right? Oh, I got one more break? Really? I don't think that's right. Wait. Okay, let's see. We had two of the first. Are you sure? All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back. We'll be back. That's all you need to know. We'll be right back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use, in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
In Congress, I get all sorts of insider stock tips. Sure, I cashed in. It's my Beltway bonus. But now here comes Senator Todd Young with his total ban on congressional stock trades.
Freaking Mr. Clean Marine. Todd Young's got real guts taking us on. Young's gonna cost me millions.
Had enough of this? Contact Senator Todd Young to say thanks and let him know that you stand with his plan to ban stock trading for all members of Congress.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Hey guys, we're back. It's the Rob Kendall Show, Hour 3, brought to you by the great John Rust. Interesting article from our friend Nikki Kelly at the Indiana Capital Chronicle. And we're going to have Nikki on Friday, and so I'll ask her about this. And it was basically about how people are becoming more and more anti-free speech that doesn't harm them. And I think that's pretty relatable, given what we've talked about with this just ridiculous response by these people over this Save Heritage Indiana event. If you want to disagree with it, okay. If you want to be for open borders, I mean, I don't think it's okay, but that's all right. That's your right. If you want to say people who broke the law can stay in the country, okay. But the response is not comparable to the action. It was a private event, 135 people or so were there. They didn't harm anybody. They followed all the rules. Everybody, it seems like, had a good time. Everybody got their money's worth, according to Indy Reporter. And they streamed part of it on the internet. That's it. Nobody was forced to go against their will. Nobody was harmed. You know, unlike the riots of downtown Indianapolis in 2020, that many of these same people were outraged over the Save Heritage Indiana event they didn't give a damn about. No businesses were destroyed. No one was injured. Nothing. And Nikki Kelly has an article about how people are far too sensitive about everything. And I thought she, and it's an opinion piece, which is clearly marked. Nikki does a lot of regular reporting, but she also writes opinion pieces over there. And this is one of those. And she used this example, which I thought was really good, of how people just can't mind their own business anymore. Like the Save Heritage Indiana event, not an official act of government. The closest you could get was 2 government officials gave pre-recorded comments about immigration. And again, they're 2 guys I don't really care for. But I saw the clips and I was like, I don't see anything wrong with this. There's nothing of all the crap those 2 guys have pulled. Like, I wouldn't put this in the stratosphere of things to be upset about. And yet people lost their mind because everybody in the social media era in which we exist, people believe I have the right to be offended about everything. And I believe that because everybody could theoretically see my comments, I can just say and do whatever the hell I want and I'll get rewarded for it. And so Nikki Kelly used the example of the food truck. Remember, we told you about the food truck, Smash Daddy's Burgers, Fries, etc., and their slogan, which they've had for years through a variety of outlets, is "You'll love our meat in your mouth." And our old pal C Mills actually, saw their food truck. I think it was at the Plainfield Farmers Market and had it and said, "Hey, they're really good." But here's what Nikki Kelly writes. So remember, this food truck was at the State House. And supposedly a couple people complained. They didn't like the slogan. It wasn't in writing. And the state kicked them out and said, you can't come to the State House anymore and have your food truck out here. Nikki Kelly wrote this, and I thought this was a really good piece. Even a food truck at the State House Market can't have a little fun with the slogan without getting kicked out because the phrase offended someone's fragile sensibilities. The Smash Daddy's Burgers, Fries, etc. food truck had been showing up to the market for almost 2 years. On one side of the truck, the slogan is, "You'll love our meat in your mouth." Yes, it's sexual innuendo. No different than "Where's the beef" was in the 1980s for Wendy's. There's a company that advertises fudge and candy in the most sophomoric way possible on billboards in Indiana but it isn't stopping them from operating. But suddenly, after someone complained, not in writing, by the way, the truck was told not to return by the Indiana State Personnel Department. Talk about an overreaction. If you don't want to eat there, then fine. But it was a place that always had a line, and the complainers cost the truck's owners thousands in revenue. I hear that, and I just substitute the Save Heritage Indiana people. It was a private event held on private property. They didn't harm anyone. Everybody who was there went of their own volition. Was it the way I would have done the rally? Nope. But it was their way. It's their company, or it's their organization. And yet, the idea that they existed so offended people that they were so worried about getting harassed, they had to have this in a cornfield, in a tent, so they wouldn't get harassed. Now, me, I would have enjoyed the fight. I would have said, here we are, come at us, brah. The only problem with that is there's some real nutbags out there. There's some real lunatics out there. And I had this conversation with somebody in the media today. And I told them this. I said, the media, by labeling, because there are insinuations by some people in the media that these people are associated with Nazis or that they are Nazis or KKK members or whatever. They're not. There was nothing in that event promoting Nazism or the KKK. But when that gets insinuated by legitimate members of the media, it starts feeding the crazy people. And in the era of Charlie Kirk, I'm very worried someone's going to get hurt again. These people have every right, just as you and I do, to say we should enforce our border laws. And they have a right to assimilate with who they want to assimilate with to say that. It's their organization. It's their group. And apparently they were so unembarrassed by it, it was streamed on the internet for everyone to see. And I told the member of the media this today. I said, you are doing a disservice by even drawing any sort of insinuation that these people who were there were Nazis. I saw a whole bunch of people in the crowd. Some of them aren't political allies of mine. They don't like me, but I know they're not Nazis. And I'm not going to allow that to be said about people that I know are not that, which includes Micah Beckwith, who I can't stand, and Todd Rokita, who I'm not a fan of. But there's enough to actually criticize these people on that I'm not going to allow someone to say, and other people there are these heinous things that they are not. There's enough heinous things that Beckwith is. You ain't got to make it up. He's not a Nazi. And it demeans every person who suffered or died at the hands of the Nazis when you say these people who are not that are so. It's the same thing here. The food truck, it's not bothering you. People like the food truck. They wanted to go. Let them have it. But we can't have that anymore because everybody has to be offended. And in the look at me culture, everybody has to make a scene because everybody wants to be seen, and now they believe they can be. Nikki Kelly goes on to write, that's where we're at as a society. The food truck owner might have a legal case since the government was involved, and the phrase doesn't count as obscenity. Nikki Kelly closes by saying this, and I thought it was really good, and I can't wait to talk to her on Friday about this. Another day, another attack on freedom of speech. I miss the days when we worried more about our own lives than everyone else's. I miss when we had tolerance for other viewpoints, even the distasteful ones. Bingo. That's exactly how we should view Save Heritage Indiana. You don't agree with their stance on borders? Fine. You have every right to have that. And you have every right to speak out against it. But what are you really offended about? There was no person there. It wasn't like it was the state lawmakers. It wasn't like the governor was there for making a proposal, which this isn't even about the states anyway, for the most part. It's about the federal government and federal border laws. The guy who was the featured speaker was the head of the Border Patrol for the federal government. And yet, people can't stand. We've reached a point in our society where people can't stand that people even exist. That's where we're at. We are so ridiculous now that it is the mere existence of people. And we immediately, if we don't like what you're doing, we turn to the most heinous, vile accusations possible. You're a Nazi. You're a KKK member. No, they're not. We're not going to tolerate that here. We're not going to tolerate that here. And I didn't go to the event, and I don't want to go to the event, but here's what I am going to do. I'm going to have the organizer of the event, Daniel Pointer, is going to be with us on Friday. And we're going to ask him all the stuff. And I asked this member of the media, I said, what would you have me ask him? Because it's really dangerous to in any way insinuate or try to draw parallels between these people and the Nazis. So what would you have me ask him? And the person gave me a question, and I'm going to ask that question. Or at least I plan to. We have got to get, talking into the abyss here, right? Because it's not going to talk any sense to people. But if someone is not harming you or harming society as a collective, then mind your own damn business. There's lots of private groups that are on the left that meet or whatever that I don't agree with. You don't see me having an aneurysm over it. It's their group. It doesn't harm me. Now, if it's a government action, get involved. Be a part of it. But we're at a point now where people are so afraid for the safety of their patrons, they got to move the status of an event around multiple times and end up having it in a cornfield in a tent because they're worried they're going to be harassed or potentially harmed. We shouldn't live that way. That's not decent society. That's not how we operate. You know, there's that old saying, right? Eventually they'll come for you. You stand up for people when it's done to them because eventually they'll come for you. And that's the way the socialists and the communists work. They have to keep eating. There always has to be an offending party. And eventually, there won't be any more of them left. And you'll be the only one to come for. Hey guys, you know our friend Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate. He doesn't just show houses, he finds you homes with everything you're looking for. Explains your options and gets your offer accepted without you losing sleep or sanity. Anthony's an expert negotiator ready to help you achieve your real estate goals. Put Anthony Gary's expert buying strategy and experience to work for you. Call or text Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate, 317-756-1159. 317-756-1159. All right, one more thing I wanted to touch on here. Sometimes I even amaze myself, guys. I told you a couple weeks ago, I said, Pete Buttigieg is going to run for president. And I said, I think right now, if you said who's going to be the Democrat nominee for president, I said it's going to be Buttigieg. And that leads us to this article from The Hill. Former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg said he is leaning towards running for president again in 2028. Quote, I think I'm more inclined than not, but there's so much we don't know, Buttigieg told Stephen Bartlett on an episode of The Diary of a CEO published Monday. That's changed all my equations. It's just something you sit with and take very seriously, which you should. So let's review the life of Pete Buttigieg, right? He was a member of the military. God bless him. Thank you for your service. But I'm talking about his public life, as in his elected or appointed life. He was the mayor of South Bend. You guys been to South Bend? It sucks. With a capital S-U-C-K-S. All letters capitalized. Maybe throw an exclamation point at the end of it. It sucks. City's a dumpster fire. There's the Notre Dame campus and a hospital, and that's it. It's a disaster. That was his launching pad. Look at me. I was the mayor of South Bend. Then, because of, let's be honest, he elevated up the presidential primary ladder because of not his governance, but his personal identifiers. What did you hear with Pete Buttigieg every time they mentioned his name? He's gay. Over and over and over and over again. And if you're going to tell me, they don't say, Rob Kendall, he's straight. They only mention it when you're gay, which means you want me to know about it, which means you're elevating him because of that. So I'm going to assume if you're elevating him and you mention it every single time that he got to where he was because he's gay. If you make me hear it every single time and you don't do the same thing for a straight person, you're telling me that's something that would elevate him. So I'll take you at your word, media, Democrats, and assume that he got promoted to be transportation secretary because he's gay. And he was a complete dumpster fire at that job too, just like he was at being the mayor of South Bend. Think of all the disastrous issues Buttigieg had as transportation secretary. Over and over and over. He was awful. I mean, he got 5th when he ran for president. He wasn't even a runner-up. And you know what? He knows all of that, right? He's horrible as the mayor of South Bend. No accomplishments to hang his hat on. He was a horrible transportation secretary. He got 5th when he ran for president the last time in the primary. And he's like, you know what? I'd be an amazing president. We talk about this a lot, like the narcissism you have to believe in a country of 350 million people, when you include the illegal immigrants, that you believe you do it better than anybody else. Like there is a real level of narcissism that goes into that. I'm talking both sides of the aisle. I'm not blaming the Democrats, all of them. To think in a country of 350 million people, you do it better than anybody else. There's a real level of narcissism that rolls into that. And despite all of his failures, to think, yeah, I would be great at it. But you tried before. No, I'd be great at it. But you did this. You were no, I'd be great at it. But no, I'd be great at it. You guys need me. You 350 million people, you need me. I bring a lot to the table. Ask my friends. All that being said, I stand behind, I think Pete Buttigieg, if he runs, will be the nominee for president. If you had to ask me right now, knowing what I know, who do you think should be the nominee for president? It's going to be Pete Buttigieg. And a survey from the Manhattan Institute, according to The Hill, last month found that Buttigieg was in 3rd place among a crowded Democratic field, which included the people that they polled on, which he was behind Gavin Newsom and Kamala Harris. He got nearly 13% of the vote. The bigger story is, and it's not a Buttigieg, or not even the Democrats, the Republicans do this all the time too. We keep rewarding politicians who fail over and over and over again. We reward politicians who fail. Why do we do that? I mean, again, look at the people Mike Braun has elevated. Look at the people who he's put in positions of power. Susie Jaworski lost a state house primary. Jennifer Ruth Green lost a congressional election. Adam Krupp, he's run for public office and lost. Hell, he's been all over state government. Ken Abernathy ran for state house, lost, got to be head of INDOT. All of these turned out to be bad choices. The voters have a say, and then we're like, no, you got it wrong, voters. Here. Go. No. Now here's a better position for you. I mean, look at the drama he has now with Andy Zay. Andy Zay at least won his election. But Andy Zay is an institutionalist who had no signature accomplishments, and Braun's like, you'd be great overseeing utilities in the state of Indiana. And then feigns outrage when Zay does what an institutionalist would do, which is protect the institution. All over the map, Democrats and Republicans. We don't hold these people accountable. We allow people to fail up in politics, to fail upward in politics. And I don't understand any of it or why we do it. But for some reason, standard operating procedure, and Buttigieg is just another example of that. Just another example of that. Guy's accomplished absolutely nothing, and he's going to be probably the front runner to be the party's nominee for president. Unbelievable. All right. One more thing, and then we'll get to the best YouTube comments of the day, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. We'll take a break before we do that as well. And by the way, our third hour brought to you by the great John Rust. Thank you, John Rust, for letting us do 3 hours a day, third hour of Indiana news, politics, and government. Polling out on Trump. There was a bunch of polling that came out on Trump. I just wanted to run through it real quick. It is this is the lowest Trump has ever been in these 2 polls that came out. Quinnipiac is the first pollster, July 29th. They showed Trump's approval rating at 32%, with 58% saying they disapprove. Here's my question. Who are the 10% who didn't have an opinion? How could you not have an opinion on how the president's doing? I mean, yay or nay? How could you be like, I don't know? Do you not live life? Do you think he's doing a good job? I don't know. Here's what was also interesting. According to the pollster, Quinnipiac, Trump's performance in the poll is the worst recorded in either of his terms in the White House. And Quinnipiac had 6 in 10 voters saying they oppose the war on Iran, the highest opposition since the beginning of the war. Only a day after Quinnipiac's poll, so July the 30th, an AP IURC poll, Associated Press, showed similar numbers as only 33% of respondents approved of Trump's performance, down 4 points from the poll last month. So he's at 32 in one, 33 in another. Separate pollsters. You probably start to get a pretty good idea. That's where he's at. About a third of voters approve of the job Trump's doing. It's the lowest recorded poll since Trump's return to the White House. The poll found similar findings with the Iran war. 64% of Americans said the war on Iran has not been worthwhile. This is the major issue that Trump has. He can't get out of it. The two biggest issues right now, and they're somewhat entwined, the cost of everything and Iran. It hits people every single day because Trump won't resolve Iran by doing the thing he's going to have to do. You're never going to negotiate your way out of the thing with Iran. Blow him up or just quit and go home. That's your options. You started it. Those are your options. You ran your mouth for years about how bad the Obama deal was, about how bad everybody else was, and now you've engaged. Put up or shut up. He's not doing either. So it keeps it in the front page for everybody every day. He can't get around it, and people don't like it. And then it ties into affordability, which people see every day. Every time they go to the grocery store and everywhere else, they can't afford to live. And so they see it every day. When people see your two biggest negatives every single day, there's no way you can go up because they're constantly reminded of what a bad job you are doing. Hey, you guys got a masonry color mismatch? Previous repair catching your eye? Not happy with the color of the brick on your home and ready for a total makeover? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants offer specialized masonry staining and recoloring. Whether you want to seamlessly blend repairs or completely transform your home's exterior, you want to build something new? Bramwell Mackay's 40-year master masons design and construct custom patios, sidewalks, outdoor summer kitchens, archways, entryways, and more. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, Bramwell Mackay, beauty built to endure. All right, final break. Then when we come back, you're the star of the show. Best YouTube comments of the day brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. We'll take a break and be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
I'm Anthony Gary. I started Indy Dwell Real Estate because too many friends, family members, and neighbors had real estate experiences that lacked compassion, explanation, and expertise. You deserve someone in your corner with the heart of a teacher, simplifying every step of the buying or selling process. When you hire me, you get me. Start to finish, you'll never be handed off. No stress, no surprises, just the expert guidance and results you deserve. Anthony Gary, Indy Dwell Real Estate. Call or text 317-756-1159. 317-756-1159.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance, so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
With a lakefront view in beautiful Brazil, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage is a little out of the way, but totally worth the trip. Down home, made from scratch food, just like the good old days at Grandma's. When you visit the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage, you'll leave more at peace than when you came in. Open 5 to 8 for dinner on Friday and Saturday, and Sundays 11 to 1:30 for the buffet. You must experience the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. Call 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003. Well, it's been an eventful show so far. I hope you people have enjoyed yourself. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks so much for joining us. Hour 3 brought to you by John Rust, and it is time for everybody's favorite part of the day, where we turn the program over to you. The best 2 YouTube comments of the day, read by producer Jason, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. And here he is, our hero.
Yes, I am, and it is brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. If your water heater... I've got a problem with my water heater. It smells of smoke.
Well, he's coming to your house, isn't he?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, McKinney came to my house yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
The dishwasher, he did a great job. He was awesome. The bad news for me is it's the dishwasher itself, not the plumbing. It's the actual dishwasher itself that's done. So he looks up at me. John was awesome, man. He came out and he's doing some stuff. He looks at me, he goes, "Yeah, I think you're done, man."
Time to have the wife use her hands. Get those dishes washed.
So, but that was not his fault. He does not profess to be a dishwasher repairman. He checked all the plumbing related stuff. Black Sheep Plumbing did a great job. Go ahead.
I never thought the dishwasher ever got the dishes really clean and got a little crud stuff, crusty stuff on there. You don't know what you're eating. All that bacteria.
I never had a dishwasher.
So you do it with your hands, then you rub your hand across the dish. It's nice and clean and it's smooth and there's no crusty stuff.
I don't know if I ever used a dishwasher until I was about 30 years old. I mean, I did when I was a kid. But I was doing it by hand or use paper plates. I'm a big fan of the paper plate.
Or paper plates, and yeah, there we go.
It's just less work. Now, the only problem I have is Livy does use a lot of dishes. So,
Right.
But anyway, go ahead. Tell us about Black Sheep Plumbing.
If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. Black Sheep Plumbing can do the job right at a fraction of the cost of the big guys. Owner John McKinney. He's a Hoosier lifer. Have I told you that before, Rob? He's a Hoosier lifer, takes great pride, stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, and water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. That's what I'm keeping my fingers crossed for, that I won't need that 6-year parts or tank guarantee. Call or text John at Black Sheep Plumbing, 765-315-7558, 765-315-7558. Black Sheep Plumbing.
He tried to not take any money, and I made him take money. I said, "If you don't take this money, I'm not going to let you sponsor the show anymore."
I wonder if I can get away with that, because
well, he was doing
it
just to see if the dishwasher worked or not.
Like, here, I'll give you a tip if I don't have to pay the bill. Tip gets bigger the smaller the bill is.
You're going to take this, or he's such a good guy. John's awesome, man. He is a great dude. He's a great plumber. I know many of you have used him and said what a great job he does. He is awesome. He loves our show. He's a huge supporter of us. We'd not be able to do it without him. And we'd not have the YouTube chat without John McKinney, Black Sheep Plumbing.
There we go. All right.
Real quick. One other thing I do want to talk about. Sorry.
Yes, right ahead.
If you go now to robkendallshow.com, robkendallshow.com, we have a support button up there. If you like what we do, if you want to support us, $1, $10, whatever it is, we're thankful for all of it. Like our friend Mad Duck, super fan of the show, did yesterday.
Yes. Thank you, Mad Duck.
Any dollar amount you give up to $100, John's going to double it in a credit if you use his service in the month of August. So like if you give $50, I send you a thank you note. I say thanks, or an email. Thanks for supporting the show. We appreciate you, blah, blah, blah. I sent one to Mad Duck yesterday, several people over the weekend. And you have that email when you call John, if you need you gave $50. He's going to give you a $100 credit on whatever his work is in the month of August. Is his way to say thank you for people who support the Rob Kendall Show. So you could actually, let's say you had, you gave us $100 because a $100 limit.
And that'd be swell of you to do it.
And we would appreciate that immensely.
Yes, we would. We do.
But
I always do. Yes.
If John gives you $200 credit, you made like $100 and you got your plumbing fixed.
Mm-hmm.
What a deal.
Hell of a deal.
August only.
Chat was kind of chippy today, getting started. You know, the bigger we get, the bigger the show gets, and it's going to get bigger and bigger. We're on, well, I guess, I don't know, we can't say yet. We're on other affiliates and things like that coming up and already, but okay. And so there's going to be new people in the chat. They don't know the rules. And, you know, it's not that you have to agree with Rob or that you can't say, hey, I disagree with that. But when you do it incessantly and you start insulting people in general, you know, you're all dirtbags, you all do this, you do that, then and you just do it nonstop, then I'm just going to block it. We don't need it. This is not a public airwaves or anything like that. You don't have a right to be here. So, you know, either assimilate in the chat or just it's not a Facebook townie chatter board where you can just everybody goes on for the purpose of insulting and ridiculing everybody. Just you know, if I've got to sit here and watch you, then I just soon block you. So it's my prerogative. Sorry, you don't like it. I mean, sorry.
You don't have to agree with me. Right. All you got to do to chat, you got to be a subscriber of the channel. Mm-hmm. That gets you in the chat. But you got to behave like a member of decent society. It means
that's not asking a lot.
Yeah,
you know. No. I mean, again, it is hard to turn that. You know, I you know, it's like road rage. Everything else, you get on Facebook, you start ranting and raving and all that, and everybody's a Billy badass and everything. And like I said, guilty is charged, but. You know, I'm the one in charge of the chat. So,
yeah,
I mean, it's not that I disagree with you or don't agree with your opinion, but if you're just going to cram it down everybody's throat, we're not gonna do that. Hold on, let me adjust because adjustment. Oh, wrong way. Sorry. There we go. Perfection. All right, we start with the driver in the chat. I don't know who actually was in first this morning, but driver seemed to be all over it. I wonder what time Rob and Jason show up in the morning. Well, I show up before Rob.
That's
I'm
right.
usually here about 7:45-ish or so and get everything good and ready to go and relax and wait for the tornado to come flying in, which is Rob. And then
I get here about 8:25 usually-ish.
Yep.
I do a lot of work in the morning from home,
mm-hmm.
and then I'm up late doing the stuff after the kid goes to bed, so that's why I get here at 8:30. I mean, knock on wood. As long as the lights turn on, the internet works. There's not that much for us to do. Well, because that computer over there turns on.
That's always my biggest scares is the internet. I'm going to walk in with the internet not being on.
It's going to happen one of these days.
I don't know. We keep saying that, but we've been knock on wood.
So we have this weird thing here where the internet we have, which is the most important thing, it's one of the reasons we chose this building, is awesome. Mm-hmm. It's great. Knock on wood. It's awesome.
I mean, the upload speed's it's been 950
awesome.
Or whatever out of 1,000 or whatever.
It's been awesome.
Yeah.
However, the Wi-Fi here stinks.
Mm-hmm. And we're afraid to complain about it because if they make any adjustment, it might screw up our other internet. So it's like, just don't say anything. We'll deal with it. All right, driver, Rob and Jason, where do you fall on rental properties in established neighborhoods? Should there be caps? None at all, or the Wild West? Kind of a random topic.
Who asked that?
That was driver.
That's a good question. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I see this from two perspectives. One is freedom and liberty. You buy a house,
mm-hmm.
you do what you want to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
However, on the street I grew up in, which is the street I live on today, when I was a kid, every house, they're not great houses. They're not mansions, right?
Sure.
They're normal middle-class houses.
Right.
But they were all essentially owner-occupied, and they were all well-maintained.
Right.
I mean, it's not all better homes and gardens.
Pride in your lawn.
But now I know which houses are rentals, and they ain't nearly as well maintained.
Right. They're the ones parking on their grass. And do they allow that in Brownsburg?
I don't know.
I think you can get away with it. I don't know. But
but when you start affecting other people's property values, like I know which homes are rental homes on my street.
Well, you don't like it, just move.
I mean, you know, I see the merit.
What are you, the president of the HOA?
I see the merit as someone who used to oversee zoning rules and regulations to the idea of saying the out-of-town rental people, because I've rented from out-of-town rental people, they're not on you about keeping up the property. They don't care. The only time they care about it is when they get it fixed up to show it to somebody.
Right.
And they're not as good. So I I have actually seen both sides. You remember on the old radio show, we had both sides on to talk about this. The real estate people who wanted it, and then the community people who were, because I think Fisher's was the big one. I actually see both sides of this. I could be swayed either way on this because my heart is tugged to both places. I would tend to lean towards you can cap it if you believe there's a danger, because if you know that when you buy there, then you make that decision going in.
Well, I think a lot of people lean like if in Greenwood it's a problem. Some communities are, over 50%. There's a thing, if there's over like a certain percentage are rentals, then you cannot pass any new HOA laws or anything. But I think a lot of people would look at it like if you want to go buy a second house and rent it out, which would be a stupid thing to do. Ask Ethan. That's one thing. And it's like, well, hey, I should not have that right. It's another thing when a company comes by and buys up all the houses because that jacks the price up, because they'll overpay for a house or houses, which jack up your property taxes because it makes your house worth more, even though you're not selling it. But they'll jack it up. They'll pay whatever they got to pay to get it, takes it off the market for the individuals. And then, the standards of rental and we have that problem.
Yeah, that's funny you said that because, and I've told the story before, but we have new people all the time.
Sure.
During COVID,
yes, in the chat,
we went to look at a house, and this would have been 21, I think, early 21, maybe late 20. And it was literally the house. I had once rented the house right next door. So, I knew the people who owned the house. I knew the house itself. I was like, hey, this might be a great house for us to buy.
Right.
And go look at the house. It's nice inside. I go looking around up, and there's an issue with the roof. There's like moss on there was some issue with the roof.
Sure.
And so I told the real estate agent, we were just walking around looking, so I didn't have my own agent, but I just said, hey, I'm going to come back Monday. I'm going to get a guy to look at the roof or this week and get somebody to look at the roof. And the real estate agent said, all bids are due Monday. I said, no. I said, I'm very interested in this house. I might be able to meet your asking price. I said, I just need somebody to look at the roof to know if that's going to be an issue for you.
Right.
All bids are due Monday.
Yeah, you look at the roof after
and I said,
you get the bid.
And what they kind of squealed on, or I don't know, squealing or whatever, but they said, we have too many for-profit companies that'll buy this house sight unseen. We don't have to wait for you to inspect the roof. You bid now.
Right.
But I said, that looks like it could be a real issue. I don't know if it is or not. Your bid is due Monday. And I was like, that's what done me. Like, they are destroying communities because they're doing this.
Right.
And so that's why I do see, especially from out-of-towners, I don't know how you legally do that, capping them out-of-towner,
well, corporations, businesses,
right.
Yeah, that is a problem. Can be a problem. Now, if you have a new community, you can have HOA rules that forbid that, but you got to do that before they get a certain percentage of the houses purchased and that sort of thing. Because you have to have individual votes, and those companies buying, they own 10 houses in a community. That's one vote, or that's 10 votes technically.
Right.
So, or what have you. Anyway,
that was a good question.
Yeah, that
good
was
job.
good. That was good.
Great.
Yeah,
that's an interesting topic,
Driver. That was something they see the chat. You get all these kind of offshoot conversations going. This was all before the show even started. So, but we'll go ahead and move on. There were quite a few comments about that. Good stuff, and maybe we'll get our Indy Dwell.
Yeah,
guy,
Anthony Gary.
Anthony Gary in here and talk about that. Now on to the data centers. This was a topic, right? Was it a topic today?
Stephen and I talked about data centers. The Indy reporter.
That's right. That is correct. Centers. Okay, had to go back a couple hours. 06010 board. Data centers and IEDC projects should take over existing empty commercial real estate. And they're talking about Lafayette Square Mall, Tippecanoe Mall, Washington Square Mall, that sort of thing. Although those would be too small, I'm sure. They'd have to tear down the mall, and it'd be at least bigger than the parking lot.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can retro. I mean,
nah, they would.
I don't think you can retrofit a building for a day. Maybe you can. I don't know.
Would be they wouldn't want that. They want to build their own.
Yeah, I would think so. I could be wrong about that.
Probably got a basement you got to add in or something. I don't know. Spray jockey, is Mitch McConnell alive? It's been a few days since we've heard from Mitch.
The time has passed for him. If he's dead, they can't do a special election.
Oh,
I thought it was August 3rd. Maybe I imagined that.
Okay. 06010 board. We should all bring a quart of oil to the Rust Party and leave them by Rob's car. Be like a Christmas present, gift that keeps on giving. Rob has to, for those of you who don't know, Rob has to keep adding a quart of oil every 3 or 4 weeks, so he never has to change his oil because since it drips out all over the roads that we pay for,
it burns.
And
it doesn't
ruin
drip.
those
It burns.
roads. Yeah, well, okay, they do drip. So he never has to get an oil change. I imagine what your oil filter. God, I can imagine what that looks like. All right, 0601 O board added. Bill Herrick for utility board.
You know, he was on the finals list or the interview list the first time, and then I don't think he applied the second time. I think he got mad. He laid that out.
Oh, okay. Now we're talking about Zay. Well, let's see.
Andy Zay.
Andy Zay. The Republic. Okay, this is Steve Green with an E. The Republicans will find a way to keep Zay quiet.
Yeah, I mean, those are some pretty serious allegations they made against him, and it's like, I don't know how you're not going to address that. I mean, they're pretty serious.
0601 O board. Zay can be a good boy, and Rakita will stand down. The only hope might be a character like Ryan Mears. I wouldn't put a whole lot of faith in Ryan Mears.
They had that in the Capital Chronicle
deck.
article. The last time somebody got removed for cause was 2012. Because it's got to be for cause to remove him from the board. And last time that was 2012, they said, the last time that happened.
Oh, okay. All right. Tony, Indiana. I told 3 people to watch the show.
Oh, awesome, Tony. Tony's awesome. Tony,
Hope those weren't the 3 people I had to block.
Tony's awesome. He's been a mega fan of our show.
Tony also adds Mad Duck for president. Yeah, I don't think she's got time for that sort of lunacy. Debbie Holcomb, thanks, John at Black Sheep Plumbing.
Yes, thank you, John Rust.
Josh Richardson, anyone calling Todd Young today to thank him for anything? Probably not, he says. Shrug Sandwich answers, like I called him yesterday and almost every single day for the past month. Zog is on a phone campaign. She even called the White House yesterday, I believe. So if you want to know how to call and contact your...
she's your girl.
She's the one to give the advice on that because she is hot and heavy on it. Ethan Hatcher, unfortunately, I think Rob is right. It doesn't matter if they swap out Rod Bray. Nothing will change. Nothing ever changes for the better.
Yeah, look at Garten's voting record. It's not identical, but it's very close to Bray. Look at the idiot he wants to be the number 2, Cook, who's the utility guy, and then Baldwin's going to be the number 3, who's the dude who screwed us on property taxes. Why would you think anything's going to change just because you put a new face in there?
Mad Duck responds to her suggestion to run for president.
Yes.
I'm not loony enough for the job, she says. Probably not corrupt enough either. All right, so that was Josh Richardson, ripping Young, Schrog agreeing with that. Oh, Jack the Libertarian, Witty rocks.
Witty's always a fan favorite. Lots of Witty fans out there.
A special power. That's a new person. Special power. Good to see Witty fam is here. These are some new Witty people that came into the chat and voiced their appreciation for having
it's like Taylor Swift. Crowd follows him around wherever he goes.
There you go. Carol, 1776. Morning, everyone. Todd Young, a Marine? ? Who'd have thunk it? Yeah.
That'll be interesting because he's going to get, the big rumor is Aaron Houchin's going to run against him, which would be like a very viable primary challenge, right? Yeah. Whatever you think of her. She'd go raise a bunch of money. What sort of campaign is he going to run, and what's he going to run on if somebody like viable like her runs against him? It'll be fascinating to see what that campaign looks like.
Be interesting to see if he shows up at John Rust's 250th birthday
Should be
party.
There.
Yeah. Come say happy birthday to me, Todd. C. Mills at Carol 1776. Are you serious? This is the first time I'm hearing about Todd Young being a squeaky clean Marine. Ethan,
man, he drilled that thing in that 2016 primary because I was working for Marlin. I mean, you're walking around going, are people going to get sick of this? Apparently not.
Just being a Marine means you're qualified to be, a senator. Then I think Steve Green with an E ought to throw his hat in the ring.
The whole thing was Stutzman. They were like, he's a farmer, and I was like, nobody's going to vote because the guy's a farmer or a Marine or what? Like, what are we doing here? Like, it's the farmer versus the Marine. Who cares?
All right. You're talking about Witty being at the Klan rally over the weekend. Ethan Hatcher, why was everyone in a suit and tie? That seemed a little strange. Was there a dress code that went out?
Yes, there was. I think it's called being professional.
Witty replied, yes, there was a dress code.
And why would that
would leave you out, Ethan?
Yeah, Ethan, you're not the dress code guy. But my question is, that said something to me about, hey, this is a professional, they're trying to be a professional organization. The fact that they're like, hey, we're not, I think they originally intended to. So the guy, I think this was the main guy, Pointer, who's going to be here Friday to talk about the event. He said in one of his times he was talking that they had multiple places that they had essentially reserved, and then they canceled on them or ghosted them or whatever, and it became very hard for them to get anybody to agree or follow through on renting them their place or being reliable or whatever, and that's why they ended up in the tent in the cornfield, because like they were just basically harassed, or the fear of harassment, out of a bunch of different venues. I'm going to ask him about that when he comes in on Friday.
All right. Continuing on. Let's see. Where are we at? We are at the gas tax. Okay, here at Shrog Sandwich. The gas tax is being imposed again Friday, right? Or should we all flood Brainless's office and Twitter with demands for a special session?
Well, you're not going to get it. He already said.
Yeah. And, yeah, Steve Green with an E at Shrog. No way we get a special session for gas tax.
No, it's not happening.
Yeah. Bowden JM, good point, Shrog. Need to write a note to reminder, fill up the gas tank Wednesday.
Yep.
Yeah, last you a couple days. And then
yeah, well,
hey, get you a couple days out of that,
right.
Though. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Now, the old man 68, I never understood people who come here from another country because it was so bad there want to change the U.S. into where they left. And a lot of people that are here, citizens, want to change the country into what it was. I added that part.
It's absolutely true. I mean, assimilation is not happening. And it should be an absolute requirement that you assimilate. I mean, so the other day, I went to the Walmart in Brownsburg, and there were 4 employees, all essentially within earshot of each other, and none of them were speaking English. Like, you're Walmart. Why are you not requiring your employees to be able to communicate with other people? Like, what are we doing?
Well, they get sued for that, Rob. All right, Shrog Sandwich again. She's all over it today. I just sent out a tweet to the fools. If we bombard them the rest of the week, it could do something. I can't do it alone. Took less than a minute to open X and get an attitude. United we stand. I think that's a hill that a lot of people aren't going to climb with you this week.
As someone who died on the hill last year, they don't care.
No, they don't. They don't.
Now, it will be interesting, though, because there's going to be outrage when, gas will jump 5 cents or 10 cents. When it jumps 60 cents, what are people going to do?
Just complain and pay it.
Well,
yeah.
That's probably what they're banking on.
And Braun will be up there smiling, just, hey, we're fixing the roads. Know that money's going to be well spent, as all your tax dollars are. Polly, 8793, a new one. Brought in by Whitty would be my guess, because the comment is, yay, Whitty is on. Yeah. Okay, let's see. We got the Sikhs. Everybody. Oh, here, Jack the Libertarian, Whitty for Indy mayor. Whitty's people came in force today.
They did. Okay,
let's skip over all that. We don't need the Sikh stuff. I think everybody pretty much understands that. 0601 board. Thanks, Indy reporter. Sue Seifert, he is right. Libertarians just want to whine and make noise. They don't want to do anything. Why I think this misery weirdos are just paid by Republicans and Democrats to stay irrelevant. That's why she thinks they're okay. Indy reporter, thank you, Rob, for having me on.
You're welcome. We have all the people on, all across, except we're done with the libertarians. No more libertarians.
He always does a good job when he comes on.
Yeah, we have all the people we like, don't like. I mean, I'm not implying anything about Whitty with that, but I'm saying people we agree with, don't agree with. We're free speech people here.
There we go. Josh Richardson, the Indy reporter. Great segment. 0601 board. Libertarians need only 1 point. Less government means smaller budget. That if they would just ride that.
Oh, they're saying that's what they should stay to. Yes.
Yeah. Sue Seifert, the Indy reporter. That was a great segment. Polly 8793, awesome segment. A special power. Yes, Polly, it was great. MLM Warriors, shirt change.
No, we don't hide this because we are limited to just 2 of us. We record the interviews the day ahead of time. So yes, that is a running joke that the shirt always looks different.
Shrog Sandwich says, you started this fire in me, Rob.
Yes,
You're the one that
I love that.
You're the one that lit the fuse. All right, this is a good point here. The old man, 68. The issue with libertarians is the same as the R's. The true members have no desire to be in charge and want nothing to do with politics, just want to be left alone and live free. Meaning the true members, meaning those of us that are not politicians. It's like, okay, you're Republican, you're Libertarian. You just want to be left alone, have reasonable laws. You understand your money's going to be wasted here and there, but in general, just, can we all just get on with life?
There's a lot of great libertarians.
Most people want you to live the way they live.
I have tons of friends. Jeremiah Morrill, Jason Seib, Mark Rutherford, all those sorts of people. I don't even consider Spangle one anymore because I don't think he's down with a lot of those guys anymore either. But Spangle, but they're not in charge of the party, and the party itself. It's like the power structure. I mean, you think about it. Most of these counties don't have any sort of meaningful representation. They don't fundraise. They don't organize. They don't door knock. They don't do signs. Like it's just like, why do you even exist? If you're not going to do it, why do you even want the ballot access? And it's so they can have this Dungeons and Dragons club where the people at the top who aren't doing anything get to say, well, I'm in charge, or there's a party, and I'm done with it. I'm done with it. If you're gonna call me a Nazi and a KKK person and a bigot and all that, then I'm done. I'm done with you, and I'll do everything in my power to make sure you don't have ballot access.
Well, once you start throwing those names around, that means you've lost any intelligent thought on both sides. Democrats and all that stuff. I mean, it's silly.
And a couple of these libertarian people yesterday. The smugness, given their irrelevance. Like, you say this on this moral high horse.
Right. They're so much more intelligent than you are.
Like anybody gives a damn what you think. Clearly, you guys have been at this forever, and you can't get anywhere. And I'm not going to be lectured by you.
Right.
And all these people who, wanted the publicity I bring to them, then to say this. And while I didn't go to that event, there's a lot of views those people have that I agree with about the border. Done. And so Lori Schillings... And I put this out yesterday, which if she doesn't get that 2%, there's some people, I'm going to send her a list of names afterwards, and she can send thank you cards to those people. If we're going down in history as the woman who lost ballot access for the libertarians.
Place the blame where the blame should be placed.
Maybe there's enough protesters left that she'll be able to do it. I don't know with Ballard being there. I talked to somebody yesterday that's like, it's not looking good for them.
Connie Lindsay. I love your show.
Thank you. We love you, Connie Lindsay. You're the best.
Yes. All right. Andrew Horning.
Andy Horning.
Yep.
Speaking of a libertarian that I like Andy.
We citizens are in charge. We just prefer to blame the people we keep re-electing. Yes.
Hard to argue with that.
Vote them out in the primary. The old man, 68. How does the old saying go? Those who can't teach. Those who can't teach go into politics. Could be.
Pretty hard to argue.
Right. The safety dude. Every country has borders.
That's right.
Right.
I mean, the no borders people, and this is what is wild to me. Some guy can hold up a flag that says abolish ICE, and you got this DSA lady publicly saying, yeah, we support no borders. And there's this rally where these people, if you grill them long enough, they'll tell you we don't believe in borders. But yet the Save Heritage Indiana people, they're the bad guys in the equation. You know what a country would look like without borders? Insane. And it's happening. You see it in Spain.
Right.
You see it in Britain.
Right. But they'll tell you, well, those people, the poor people, they should be taken in, and because they've got a terrible life. And okay, but then they want to change the country back to the country that they just came from.
Exactly. There's no assimilation.
Yeah. Robert Schwartz, and just re-electing members of the same team as replacements at the same time expecting those replacements of the same team to change anything? ? Well, technically, no. The way I look at it is, if I wanted to run as a Republican, whatever, I couldn't do it because I don't have there's no way I can beat an incumbent, no matter what race you're in. You're not, because their party, they're entrenched, they're there. That's why I keep saying vote against the incumbents. There's some small guy there who actually probably believes what you believe, but he'll never get to that point because the money against him by the party is just too much. That's why I say vote out the incumbents. All right, the safety dude, tattoos are babe magnets. You talked about the tattoos, those skinheads. They were not skinheads. They weren't tattooed with Nazi things like the Democrat candidates are.
The shows are like a fever dream for me. You got to remind me because I get done and I don't remember any of it that I've done.
Right. Drew, picnic basket.
Picnic basket.
There we go. Okay, so there's other stuff, but I know, aren't we? Yeah, dang it. Okay, so here we go. Mike Murdoch, best wings in the world, as you should know, double Ds.
That's right.
Josh Richardson, double Ds, 10 out of 10, would recommend. Debbie Holcomb, time for John Rust, hour. Mad Duck and John McKinney at Black Sheep Plumbing. Steve Green with an E. Rust or bust. Thank you. Josh Richardson. Thank you, Mr. Rust. Debbie Holcomb. Can't wait to celebrate Jason's birthday.
October the 3rd.
There we go.
2 months.
Spray Jockey. Thank you, John. Debbie Holcomb. Oh, and Double D's Barbecue. Tina's birthday as well.
That's
yes,
right.
Yes,
That's
yes.
right.
Tina and I share the great day together. MLM Warriors. Rust for America. And there we go. So we'll do that, and then let's get to the point total, shall we?
Here we go. So at the end of every show, Jason tallies up the points of you fabulous chatters, and he reads a top 10 list.
Yeah, today we did not get up to 3,000.
Well, you had several days there on the weekend.
Well, we only had, that's right. And I got it in a little late. Rob was dealing with the little tornado tyrant, whatever you call her, and didn't get me the headline till 7-ish or something, but that's okay. Over 50 chatters today.
Oh, that's great.
Find me another local show that has over 50 people.
Yeah,
chatting.
nobody's doing 50.
Hundreds and hundreds of comments that we get here. It's amazing. Okay, number 10 on the points. The more you chat, the more points you get. Number 10 was Chris Chafin. Number 9 with 325 points. Okay, he had 300 points. 325 points is the Old Man 68. 350 points, Drew. Spray Jockey at number 7 with 375. Rock Laws, 450 points at number 6. Kevin Branham, number 5, 475 points, tied with number 4, LM Warriors, with 475 points. Ooh, Steve Green with an E all the way up to number 3 with 525. And then Josh Richardson jumps up to number 2 at 750 points, tied with Driver, 750 points. 750.
Good job.
So we had 2 code number 1s.
Remember when we were
today.
impressed when somebody got to like 300? And we were like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, now we're at 750.
There we go. Amazing, guys. Thank you so much. And so that'll do it for the chat today. Brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Guys, be civilized with each other, and let's try to have regular communication and, not scream fest in the chat. So otherwise, I'll just pop you out of there. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. So long, everybody.
All right, that is going to do it for us today. You guys have an awesome rest of your Tuesday. Be safe out there. We will see you back here tomorrow, 9 until noon. For producer Jason, I'm Rob Kendall. You've been watching, you've been listening to Rob Kendall Show.